I was abandoned by my family and reincarnated at the age of 16. Yu Chan's eyes snapped open, his breath heavy. The dim glow of the ceiling light above him flickered slightly, casting shadows across the small room. His hands trembled as he stared at them, stronger, firmer, yet undeniably younger. He bolted upright, his heart racing. "This isn't possible," he muttered. The last thing he remembered was his bitter end, a life spent clawing his way up, only to be betrayed by those he once called family. His so-called relatives had abandoned him, ridiculed him for his weakness. The girl he had loved, the one he had once dreamed of a future with, had discarded him for someone stronger. He had fought, struggled, and bled for years, only to meet a tragic fate. Yet now he was here. A shaky hand reached for the desk beside him. There, lying atop an old book, was a simple wooden calendar displaying the date. Year 2212, March 3rd. He felt his chest tighten. This was 10 years in the past. The year he turned 16. The year when everything had begun. The year when every citizen awakened their talent. In this world, every person at the age of 16 awakened a unique talent, a gift that dictated their fate. Some were granted mighty abilities that allowed them to soar to greatness, while others were cursed with mediocrity, doomed to be overshadowed. Yu Chan had been among the latter. When he first awakened his talent, it had been nothing but basic swordsmanship, an ability so ordinary that even the lowest-ranked cultivators sneered at it. His family, the once mighty Chan clan, a household of elite warriors, had been utterly disappointed. Their scorn had cut deeper than any blade. His once loving relatives had turned cold. His father, who once spoke of legacy and honor, had dismissed him as a disgrace. His cousins laughed at him, mocking his inability to meet their expectations. Even in school, those who once respected him looked away in disdain. And then there was her, Li Ro, the girl he had cherished, the one he had thought would stand by his side. Instead, she had walked away, choosing someone stronger. Her last words before leaving had haunted him for years. "Yu Chan, you'll never amount to anything. I need someone who can protect me, someone worthy of my future." Now, back in the past, those words still burned like embers in his heart. But things were different now. Yu Chan clenched his fists. He had returned with all of his memories, all of the pain, all of the struggles, and more importantly, all of the knowledge of what was to come. "This time, I won't be weak," he whispered. "This time I will rise." A sudden ding echoed in his mind, and before his eyes, a transparent blue screen materialized. System activated. "Welcome, Yu Chan. You have awakened the unique system, Path of the Absolute. System status. Name Yu Chan. Level 1. Talent, none yet to awaken. Strength, 5. Agility, 6. Vitality, 5. Intelligence, 8. Available stat points, 10. His breath hitched. A system. This hadn't existed in his past life. He had never heard of someone awakening a system. Was this a blessing from fate? A second chance to change everything? As if responding to his thoughts, the system sent another notification. Special condition met. Due to unique circumstances, your talent awakening has been modified. Instead of basic swordsmanship, you have unlocked Heavenly Sword Mastery. Yu Chan's hands trembled as he read the words over and over again. Heavenly Sword Mastery? In his past life, he had barely managed to train in the basics of the sword. It had taken him years to even grasp low-level techniques. But this was something on an entirely different level. A rush of memories filled his mind. Knowledge of intricate footwork, countless sword techniques, movements that seemed beyond human comprehension. His body tingled as if it had been reborn with new instincts. He smirked. "So, fate truly has given me a second chance." Yu Chan didn't waste any time. He knew that today was the awakening ceremony at Skyward Academy, where every 16-year-old would publicly awaken their talents in front of family, peers, and sect representatives. It was a grand occasion, one that had humiliated him in his past life. But this time, he would make sure things would be different. After getting dressed, he left a small room and walked outside. The grand mansion of the Chan clan loomed in the distance, its towering walls and golden banners a testament to their power. The moment he stepped onto the courtyard, whispers followed. "Isn't that Yu Chan? The failure?" He still has the nerve to show up? I heard even his father has given up on him. Yu-chan ignored them. He had no need to waste words on people who wouldn't matter in the future. He had 10 years of experience and knowledge they couldn't even begin to comprehend. He arrived at the Awakening Hall of Skyward Academy, where thousands of students were gathered. Towering crystal pillars lined the stage, glowing with ancient energy. At the center, an elder stood before the awakening altar. Step forward and place your hand on the altar, the elder instructed. Your talent shall be revealed. One by one, students took turns. Some awakened great talents: flame manipulation, lightning strike, earth titan form. Their families cheered, and sect representatives took notes, eager to recruit them. Then it was Yu-chan's turn. A hushed silence filled the hall as he walked up. Whispers echoed. Watch him fail again. Maybe he'll awaken a farmer's talent. Yu-chan placed his hand on the altar. The moment he did, a surge of power rushed through him. The crystal pillars trembled, and a golden aura erupted around him. Gasps filled the hall. What is this? A golden glow. That's a supreme grade talent. The elder's eyes widened. He stepped forward, voice trembling. Yu-chan, your talent is heavenly sword mastery, an ability that has not been seen in 1,000 years. Silence. And then chaos erupted. Yu-chan looked up, meeting the shocked gazes of those who had mocked him. He smiled. This was only the beginning. The hall was still in chaos. Gasps and whispers filled the air as Yu-chan stood before the awakening altar, his golden aura illuminating the stunned faces of students, elders, and sect representatives. Heavenly sword mastery? Impossible, one of the elders muttered. Not a single recorded case in 1,000 years. I thought this brat was a failure. How could he possess such a supreme talent? Li-ro, the girl who had once walked away from him, sat among the top students. Her face paled as she stared at the radiance surrounding him. Her heart pounded. How could this be? This isn't the weak Yu-chan I left behind. Meanwhile, Yu-chan met the gazes of the shocked crowd with calm confidence. He had expected this reaction. In his previous life, he had been mocked and humiliated during the ceremony. But this time, fate had rewritten his story. The elder at the altar cleared his throat. Yu-chan, he said, struggling to maintain his composure. Your awakening is unprecedented. With heavenly sword mastery, you are destined to shake the foundations of this world. However, great power comes with greater expectations. Yu-chan nodded. I understand, elder. The elder turned to the gathered sect representatives. Due to the rarity of this talent, I will personally oversee his assessment. In 3 days, Yu-chan must undergo the advanced trial to test his abilities. Should he succeed, he will receive direct recommendations for the Imperial Academies and top sections. A murmur ran through the crowd. The advanced trial was something only the most elite students attempted. Many failed, and some even lost their lives in the process. Yet, the elder was sending Yu-chan there, without hesitation. This is unfair. He just awakened his talent. A noble student from a powerful family stood up, his face twisted with jealousy. He shouldn't be given such a special opportunity. The elder narrowed his eyes. If you believe yourself more worthy, then step forward and challenge him. The student immediately paled and sat back down. Yu-chan smirked. Coward. With that, the ceremony ended, and the students left in a mixture of awe and envy. Some sent jealous glances, others murmured about future alliances. However, Yu-chan paid them no mind. His focus was on the future. Yu-chan returned to his residence in the outer courtyard of the Chan clan. It was a small, isolated place, a sign of his family's disdain for him. But this was no longer the weak, forsaken Yu-chan of before. He was reborn with knowledge and power. Sitting cross-legged, he opened his system. System status. Name Yu-chan. Level 1. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 510. Agility 612. Vitality 59. Intelligence 8. Available stat points 10-0. He had immediately invested his first stat points. Strength and agility would be crucial for battle, and vitality would ensure his survival. Ding! A new notification appeared. New skill unlocked. Basic Sword Aura. Description: an introductory form of sword energy. Enhances blade sharpness and cutting power. Yuchan clenched his fists. This was already beyond what he had in his past life. His previous self had spent years struggling to grasp even the basics, and yet here he was, unlocking skills immediately. Standing up, he picked up a wooden training sword and stepped into the courtyard. He had 3 days before the advanced trial. He would use every second wisely. Under the dim glow of the courtyard lanterns, Yuchan moved through the heavenly sword form, a technique that was now instinctive to him due to his talent. His sword cut through the air, leaving faint traces of golden energy in its wake. He focused, activating Basic Sword Aura. The wooden blade shimmered faintly. Let's test it. He slashed at a thick stone pillar. Crack! A deep gash appeared in the stone. Yuchan's eyes lit up. In his past life, he wouldn't have been able to leave a scratch. Yet now, with just a wooden sword, he had managed to cut through solid rock. This was only the beginning. The trial grounds were packed. Students, instructors, and sect representatives gathered to witness the advanced trial. Many had come just to see Yuchan fail. At the center stood a towering gate of ascension, a relic from ancient times. Behind it was the Shadow Beast Arena, where participants would face summoned creatures. Defeating them would prove one's combat abilities. Yuchan stepped forward, his calm demeanor unwavering. A trial master raised his voice. The rules are simple. You must survive and defeat all opponents within the arena. Only then will you be recognized as a true combatant. The gate opened. A wave of ancient energy rushed out. Yuchan entered without hesitation. The arena was vast, an endless battlefield surrounded by dark mist. A deep growl echoed. The first opponent emerged, a steel-fanged wolf. Steel-fanged wolf, level 10. Yuchan smirked. This was a monster that would have been impossible for his past self to defeat. But not this time. The beast lunged, its fangs flashing. Yuchan sidestepped, his agility far surpassing what was expected of a level 1 warrior. With one swift motion, he brought his sword down. Slash! The wolf staggered, blood spilling from a deep wound. It howled in agony. Yuchan didn't give it a chance to recover. He pivoted, channeling Basic Sword Aura, and delivered the finishing strike. Thud! The beast collapsed. A notification appeared. You have defeated Steel-Fanged Wolf, plus 500 EXP. Level up. Yuchan level 2. Stat points plus 5. He barely had time to celebrate before a second gate opened. This time, a crimson-eyed panther emerged. It was twice as fast as the wolf, its eyes gleaming with malice. A true test had begun. The crimson-eyed panther circled Yuchan, its red eyes glowing like burning embers in the darkness. The beast moved fast, almost too fast for the average participant in the advanced trial. But Yuchan was not an ordinary participant. He gripped his training sword tightly. His senses sharpened, his instinct screaming at him as the beast lunged. Swoosh! Yuchan twisted his body, narrowly avoiding the razor-sharp claws that would have torn through his flesh. Instead of backing away, he stepped forward, driving his sword in a clean arc. Clang! The panther's hide was tough, reinforced with natural armor. Yuchan frowned. This will take more than a simple attack. Status check. Name Yuchan. Level 2-3. Talent, Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength, 10-15. Agility, 12-18. Vitality, 9-14. Intelligence, 8. Available stat points, 5-0. Techniques. Basic Sword Aura, Level 1, Level 2. Heavenly Sword Form, Level 1. Flash Step, Level 1 unlocked. Weapons. Training Sword, Basic Wooden. A notification flashed in his mind. Flash Step unlocked. A smirk formed on his lips. Perfect. The crimson-eyed panther lunged again, but this time, Yuchan activated Flash Step. Whoosh! His body blurred. In the blink of an eye, he reappeared behind the panther, his sword already descending. Slash! A deep wound opened along the beast's side. The crimson-eyed panther howled in pain, staggering back. Crimson-eyed panther. Health, 60%. Yuchan wasted no time. He activated Basic Sword Aura Level 2, channeling power into his blade. Golden energy crackled along the edge, doubling its sharpness. The panther, sensing danger, leapt backward, but Yu-chan wouldn't let it escape. He lunged forward, moving at incredible speed, his blade a streak of golden light. Thud! The panther's body hit the ground, lifeless. You have defeated Crimson-Eyed Panther. Plus 700 EXP. Level up. Yu-chan level 4. Stat points plus 5. A deep silence followed. The trial arena trembled slightly as the next gate began to open. The students watching from the outside were speechless. He's only at level 4, but he took out a level 12 beast. How is that possible? Even the instructors exchanged wary glances. No beginners should have been able to perform at such a level. Some began whispering that Yu-chan's heavenly sword mastery was a power far greater than they had ever imagined. But for Yu-chan, this was only the beginning. The third trial, Twin Serpent Guardians. The arena shook violently as two enormous stone doors groaned open. From within, two massive figures emerged, towering, armored, and radiating a terrifying aura. The Twin Serpent Guardians. Twin Serpent Guardians, level 15. Abilities: Serpent's Fangs, piercing attacks that can melt armor. Stone Bind, temporary immobilization technique. Twin Combat Coordination, they fight as one, covering each other's weaknesses. Yu-chan exhaled. This won't be easy. The serpents moved in perfect unison. One attacked from the left, the other from the right. Yu-chan activated Flash Step, vanishing just as their deadly tails struck the ground where he had stood moments before. Boom! The impact shattered the stone beneath them. He reappeared on top of one of the guardians, slamming his sword down with all his might. Clang! His blade barely left a scratch. A chill ran down Yu-chan's spine. They're too strong, unless I find a weak point. The system flashed a combat analysis. Weak point discovered. Their core gem located at the base of their necks. Yu-chan's eyes gleamed. That's it. Dodging another attack, he leaped into the air, spinning mid-motion. He activated Basic Sword Aura Level 2 and Flash Step, appearing directly in front of the left guardian's neck. Slash! A deep cut appeared in the stone, revealing a glowing red gem underneath. The guardian let out a deep, inhuman screech, its body shaking. The second guardian moved in to protect its twin, but Yu-chan was faster. He activated Flash Step once more, vanishing before its counterattack could land. Yu-chan closed his eyes, channeling everything into one strike. His body glowed as his sword vibrated with golden energy. His heavenly sword mastery flared to life. New move unlocked, Piercing Sword Light. Yu-chan launched forward, his sword glowing brilliantly. He pierced through the first guardian's core gem, shattering it into dust. Boom! The first guardian collapsed. Before the second could react, Yu-chan turned, swinging his sword with the force of a hurricane. Slash! The second guardian's gem shattered. You have defeated Twin Serpent Guardians. Plus 1,500 EXP. Level up. Yu-chan level 6. Stat points plus 5. The arena went silent as the dust settled. Yu-chan stood amidst the rubble, his breath steady. He had done it. He had conquered what many considered an impossible trial. Outside the arena, the spectators had been reduced to stunned silence. Level 6. He's already at level 6. That's insane. Most people can't reach level 6 in months, let alone in a single day. Even the instructors were at a loss for words. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 6. Talent, Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength, 1522. Agility, 1825. Vitality, 1420. Intelligence, 8. Available stat points, 50. Techniques. Basic Sword Aura, Level 2, Level 3. Heavenly Sword Form, Level 1, Level 2. Flash Step, Level 1, Level 2. Piercing Sword Light, Level 1, newly acquired. Weapons. Training Sword, Basic Wooden. Steel-Edged Sword, Rare, Rank C. Chapter 4. The Path of Ascension. Yu-chan took a deep breath as the dust settled around him. The remains of the Twin Serpent Guardians crumbled, their cores reduced to glowing embers of energy before vanishing into the air. He had conquered the advanced trial, proving himself beyond doubt. The spectators remained frozen in shock. Few had ever defeated the Twin Serpent Guardians on their first attempt, let alone at level 6. From the viewing stands, Elder Shin stroked his beard. Interesting. This boy's growth is unnatural. The heavenly sword mastery is more terrifying than I anticipated. But not everyone shared his admiration. A group of noble students, all heirs of powerful families, exchanged dark glances. One of them clenched his fists. We can't let him rise unchecked. Yu-chan ignored the murmurs. He had greater concerns. His system had updated, granting him new rewards. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 6-7. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 22-26. Agility 25-30. Vitality 20-23. Intelligence 8. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Basic Sword Aura, Level 3, Level 4. Heavenly Sword Form, Level 2, Level 3. Flash Step, Level 2, Level 3. Piercing Sword Light, Level 1, Level 2. Heavenly Blade Tempest, newly acquired Level 1. Weapons. Steel-Edged Sword, Rare, Rank C. Moonlit Fong, Epic, Rank B. Yu-chan gripped his new weapon. Moonlit Fong, a curved sword made from celestial steel, pulsed with latent energy. Unlike the crude training weapons, this blade resonated with his heavenly sword mastery. He could already feel the difference. A trial master approached him. Yu-chan, you have successfully cleared the advanced trial. As per the rules, you are now eligible for direct entry into the Azure Dragon Academy. A collective gasp spread through the audience. The Azure Dragon Academy was one of the elite training grounds, reserved for the most talented warriors. Even noble families fought for a chance to send their heirs there. Yu-chan smiled. This is only the beginning. But before he could accept, a cold voice interrupted. I challenge Yu-chan to a duel. Yu-chan turned to see a tall figure stepping forward. Wei Tian, the son of the powerful Wei clan, a family renowned for producing top-tier warriors. His talent, Thunderstorm Spear, was a force to be reckoned with. The trial master hesitated. Wei Tian, the trial is over. Wei Tian smirked. If Yu-chan truly deserves the honor of Azure Dragon Academy, he won't refuse. The crowd erupted in excitement. A duel between Yu-chan and Wei Tian? This was a battle no one wanted to miss. Yu-chan's expression remained calm. Fine. The arena was reset. Wei Tian spun his Thunderstorm Spear, arcs of electricity crackling around its blade. Opponent identified. Wei Tian, Level 10. Abilities. Thunderclap Strike, a spear thrust infused with lightning. Storm Footwork, enhanced speed and mobility. Volt Cage, traps the opponent in a field of static energy. Yu-chan's eyes narrowed. This won't be easy. Begin, the trial master shouted. Wei Tian struck first. His spear blurred, streaking forward like lightning. Yu-chan activated Flash Step, vanishing just as the spear passed through where he had been standing. Boom! The ground cracked from the sheer force of Wei Tian's attack. Yu-chan reappeared behind him, slashing with Moonlit Fong. Wei Tian barely twisted in time, blocking with his spear shaft. Sparks flew as their weapons clashed. Wei Tian grinned. You're fast. Yu-chan smirked. And you're predictable. With a flicker of movement, Yu-chan unleashed Piercing Sword Light. A golden streak of energy shot toward Wei Tian. Wei Tian spun his spear, summoning a Volt Cage around himself. Crack! The energy attack was deflected, but Yu-chan was already on the move. He used Flash Step, appearing above Wei Tian this time. Slash! A thin line of blood appeared on Wei Tian's shoulder. Wei Tian gritted his teeth. You! Lightning surged around him. He raised his spear and roared, summoning a thunderclap strike. The entire battlefield rumbled as a spear of pure lightning shot toward Yu-chan. The crowd gasped, but Yu-chan remained composed. He activated Heavenly Blade Tempest. His sword spun, creating a vortex of golden energy around him. The lightning spear collided, but instead of piercing him, it was torn apart by the raging sword winds. Wei Tian's face paled. Impossible. Yu-chan shot forward in a blur. His sword glowed, infused with his full power. Slash! Wei Tian's spear shattered. He staggered back, clutching his chest. A thin wound marked his torso, though Yu-chan had deliberately held back. Silence filled the arena. Then, "Winner Yu-chan," the trial master declared. Wei Tian clenched his fists, but eventually sighed. He nodded toward Yu-chan. "You win this time." Yu-chan nodded. "Train harder. Maybe next time, you won't lose so easily." Wei Tian's eyes flashed with irritation, but he gave a curt nod before leaving. The trial master turned to Yu-chan. "With this victory, your place in Azure Dragon Academy is unquestioned. Congratulations." The crowd erupted in cheers. Even those who had doubted him before couldn't deny his strength now. But Yu-chan barely paid attention. He was already thinking ahead. This is just the start. The real challenges are yet to come. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 7-8. Talent, Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength, 26-30. Agility, 30-34. Vitality, 23-26. Intelligence, 8. Available stat points, 50. Techniques. Basic Sword Aura, Level 4, Level 5. Heavenly Sword Form, Level 3, Level 4. Flash Step, Level 3, Level 4. Piercing Sword Light, Level 2, Level 3. Heavenly Blade Tempest, Level 1, Level 2. Weapons. Moonlit Fong, Epic Rank B. The crowd's cheers echoed behind Yu-chan as he stepped out of the trial arena. He had secured his place in Azure Dragon Academy, but his path was only beginning. The presence of the shadowed figure watching him from the distance sent a warning through his instincts. He wasn't the only one aware of his rapid rise. He turned toward the unknown figure, his eyes locking onto those glowing crimson pupils. "So, you're the one everyone is talking about," the figure murmured. The voice was deep, calm, yet carried an eerie weight. Yu-chan narrowed his eyes. "And who are you?" The figure chuckled. "Just someone who is curious. You've made quite the impression." Yu-chan remained silent, assessing him. The aura surrounding this man was unlike anything he had encountered before. Ancient, powerful, and dangerous. "I'll be watching," the stranger said before vanishing into the shadows. Yu-chan exhaled sharply. Whoever he is, he's not an ordinary cultivator. 2 days later, Yu-chan, along with several other students who had passed the trials, boarded a sky carriage, an artifact-powered transport that soared through the sky. Below them, vast mountains stretched endlessly, rivers snaking between valleys filled with mystical energy. The academy's location was a well-guarded secret, known only to those invited. As they traveled, whispers filled the carriage. "I heard Azure Dragon Academy is ranked among the top 3 in the entire empire. I heard the students there are at least level 20 and above. The weakest ones barely survive their first month." Yu-chan listened but remained focused. He was no longer bound by the limits of his past life. His system would ensure his growth was limitless. Hours later, the carriage finally approached a magnificent sight, a floating city, suspended between colossal mountain peaks. Azure Dragon Academy wasn't just a school. It was a fortress, an empire of its own. Massive gates adorned with dragon carvings loomed ahead. As the sky carriage landed, a group of senior students in blue and gold robes greeted them. A tall, battle-hardened man stepped forward. "I am Instructor Lei, one of the overseers of the Azure Dragon Academy's entrance examinations. Welcome, recruits." His gaze swept over them, lingering on Yu-chan for a moment longer than the rest. "Before you can officially join, you must pass the final entry trial." Murmurs erupted. "Another trial? I thought we already proved ourselves." Instructor Lei's eyes turned sharp. "Do you believe you deserve entry simply because you won one battle? The Academy only accepts those who continue to prove themselves. You will now undergo the Dragon Gate Challenge." The students were led to an ancient courtyard, where a massive stone staircase stretched upward. It was carved with thousands of ancient inscriptions, each glowing faintly. "The Dragon Gate is a test of your willpower and strength," Instructor Lei explained. "Only those who reach the top will be admitted." "What happens if we fail?" a student asked hesitantly. "Then you leave," Lei stated flatly. "Forever." A heavy silence followed. Yu-chan smirked. "Fine. If that's the challenge, I'll complete it." The moment the first student took a step forward, an invisible pressure descended upon the courtyard. Boom! Some students immediately collapsed, gasping for breath. What the? It's suppressing my energy. Yu-chan's system flickered. System update, environmental analysis. Location, Azure Dragon Academy, Dragon Gate steps. Effect, gravity suppression. Each step increases gravity by 10%. Additional effect, mind disruption, weakening of mental fortitude per 10 steps. Yu-chan took his first step. A crushing weight pressed against him, slowing his movements. But he remained unfazed. Others weren't as fortunate. Students struggled, some barely making it past 10 steps before collapsing. Yu-chan advanced steadily, adapting his body with every step. Step 30. His breathing grew heavier. Step 50. His bones felt the strain, but his will remained unshaken. Ahead, only a handful of students had reached step 70. Among them was a familiar face, Wei Tian. He turned, locking eyes with Yu-chan again. Yu-chan smirked. Didn't expect to see you struggling so soon. Wei Tian gritted his teeth. I won't lose. He pushed forward, but Yu-chan maintained his pace. Step 90. His muscles burned, but he remained focused. Step 100. The final challenge. A golden aura flared to life at the peak of the staircase. A phantom dragon appeared, its spectral eyes locking onto the challengers. So that's the real test. Yu-chan thought. The dragon let out a mighty roar, unleashing a wave of pressure that sent several students tumbling down the steps. Yu-chan gritted his teeth. He activated Heavenly Blade Tempest, countering the pressure with his own energy. One step at a time, he advanced. Until, boom, he crossed the final step, stepping into the golden aura. The phantom dragon's eyes gleamed before vanishing. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 8-9. Talent, Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength, 30-34. Agility, 34-38. Vitality, 26-30. Intelligence, 8. Available stat points, 50. Techniques. Basic Sword Aura, Level 5, Level 6. Heavenly Sword Form, Level 4, Level 5. Flash Step, Level 4, Level 5. Piercing Sword Light, Level 3, Level 4. Heavenly Blade Tempest, Level 2, Level 3. Dragon's Ascent, newly acquired Level 1. Weapons, Moonlit Fang, Epic Rank B. A new technique. Dragon's Ascent. Yu-chan clenched his fist. This place will make me stronger. Instructor Lei stepped forward. Those who passed, welcome to Azure Dragon Academy. Yu-chan glanced back at those who failed. Some wept, others cursed. But he had no sympathy for them. The path of strength was ruthless. As the remaining students stepped forward, Lei's expression hardened. Rest well tonight. Tomorrow, your real training begins. Yu-chan smirked. I can't wait. The morning sun bathed the floating city of Azure Dragon Academy in golden light, but its beauty was deceiving. Beneath its towering spires and majestic training grounds, a world of intense competition, power struggles, and hidden dangers awaited. Yu-chan stood at the edge of the training courtyard, watching as groups of outer disciples gathered for the morning assembly. The newcomers who had passed the Dragon Gate Challenge were now officially disciples, but that was merely the first step. The true challenge lay in climbing the Academy's strict hierarchy. Instructor Lei's voice boomed across the courtyard. Welcome to Azure Dragon Academy. From today onward, your strength will determine your future. You will train, fight, and bleed to earn your place among the elite. Yu-chan glanced around. He could already sense the divisions forming. The outer disciples, fresh recruits like himself, were the lowest-ranked members of the academy. Above them were the inner disciples, who had trained for years and held superior cultivation. Then there were the core disciples, warriors personally trained by the academy elders, often destined for greatness. Yu-chan knew he would have to climb that ladder, and fast. Instructor Lei clapped his hands, and the courtyard rumbled as the ground shifted. Training platforms rose from the stone floor, revealing different sections: combat rings, endurance courses, and cultivation chambers. Your first task is simple, Lei announced. Prove your worth. Before anyone could question him, Lei gestured toward a massive stone monolith at the center of the courtyard. It was covered in glowing runes, its surface radiating a strange energy. "This is the Dragon's Will monument," Lei explained. "Strike it, and it will measure your strength." A buzz of excitement spread through the disciples. This was their first chance to compare their power. One by one, students stepped forward, delivering their best strikes. The monolith glowed with different intensities, depending on the power of the attack. A burly youth from the Wei clan stepped up. He unsheathed his sword and slashed forward with all his might. Boom! The runes flickered, and the number 120 appeared on the stone. Gasps filled the air. Anything over 100 was considered strong for a new disciple. Another student, a spear-wielding disciple from the Bai clan, stepped up. He unleashed a lightning spear thrust and scored 135. Then it was Yu Chan's turn. He stepped forward, his moonlit fang shimmering in his grasp. The crowd whispered, "That's him, the one who cleared the twin serpent guardians. I bet he scores high." Ignoring the murmurs, Yu Chan exhaled and activated Heavenly Blade Tempest. His sword howled with golden energy as he slashed forward. Boom! The monolith trembled. A golden light surged across its surface. 200. Silence. Then an uproar. "That's impossible." He nearly doubled Wei Jian's score. Even Instructor Lei raised an eyebrow. Interesting. Yu Chan simply sheathed his sword and stepped back. He wasn't here to impress them. He was here to become stronger. But his performance had already made enemies. Later that day, as Yu Chan was meditating in one of the Academy's chi-gathering chambers, a shadow loomed over him. "You think you're special, don't you?" Yu Chan opened his eyes. 3 figures stood before him, wearing robes embroidered with silver dragons, the mark of inner disciples. Their leader, a sharp-faced young man with ice-blue eyes, smirked. A mere outer disciple scoring 200 on the Dragon's Will monument? That's unheard of. Yu Chan met his gaze calmly. If it happened, it's not impossible. The inner disciple's expression darkened. "My name is Ren Shi. You should remember it, because I'm giving you one chance." Yu Chan raised an eyebrow. "A chance for what?" Ren Shi stepped closer, his voice dropping. "To kneel, apologize for your arrogance, and swear loyalty to the inner disciples." Yu Chan almost laughed. "Is that how things work here? The strong bow to the weak?" The air grew tense. Ren Shi's smirk twisted into a sneer. "You don't understand how things work, do you? Inner disciples hold real power here. If you refuse, we'll make your life miserable." Yu Chan slowly stood up, his moonlit fang gleaming at his side. "If you want to make my life miserable," he said coldly, "then come and try." Ren Shi's face darkened. "You're going to regret this." With that, the 3 inner disciples left, but Yu Chan knew this wasn't the end. "If they want to fight, I'll give them one." That night, as Yu Chan was walking back to his residence, he sensed killing intent. A gust of wind rustled the trees. Then, whoosh, a blade shot toward his neck. Yu Chan reacted instantly, activating Flash Step to dodge. 5 figures emerged from the shadows, all masked, their robes bearing the insignia of the inner sect. "So predictable," Yu Chan muttered. Ren Shi stepped forward, his eyes gleaming with malice. "You should have listened." Yu Chan smirked. "I'm listening now. And you just confirmed you're cowards who only attack in numbers." Ren Shi's face twisted in anger. "Kill him." System update. Combat engaged. Enemies identified. Inner disciples, level 12-15. Yu Chan's status. A level 9-10. Strength, 34-38. Agility, 38-42. Vitality, 30-34. Techniques. O Basic Sword Aura, level 6, level 7. O Heavenly Sword Form, level 5, level 6. O Flash Step, level 5, level 6. O Piercing Sword Light, level 4, level 5. O Heavenly Blade Tempest, level 3, level 4. O Dragon's Ascent, level 1, level 2. Yu Chan moved like lightning, his sword cutting through the darkness. Clash. 2 attackers lunged at once. He dodged, countering with Piercing Sword Light. A golden streak of energy sent one flying into a tree. Ren Shi attacked from behind, his blade crackling with frost chi. Yu Chan twisted, activating Dragon's Ascent. Whoosh! His entire body shot into the air, propelled by a burst of sword chi. From above, he slashed downward, his moonlit fang glowing with heavenly blade tempest. Ren sure barely blocked, but the impact sent him skidding backward. The remaining disciples hesitated. They had expected an easy ambush, not a one-sided massacre. Yu-chan leveled his blade. I gave you a chance to leave. Ren sure spat blood, eyes burning with hatred. This isn't over. The surviving disciples fled into the night, dragging their injured allies with them. Yu-chan sighed. What a waste of time. He sheathed his sword and walked away. The dawn after the ambush was quiet, but within the halls of Azure Dragon Academy, the silence carried a storm. Word of Yu-chan's battle against the inner disciples spread like wildfire. Many students whispered in awe, while others exchanged uneasy glances. Challenging the inner sect was tantamount to courting disaster. Yu-chan sat in meditation, his body recovering from the battle. The injuries were minor, but the encounter had reaffirmed something he already knew. Power ruled this academy. His enemies wouldn't stop here. If anything, they would escalate their attacks. A sudden knock at his door interrupted his thoughts. Yu-chan, Instructor Lei summons you. Yu-chan opened his eyes. He had expected this. The central Elder Hall of Azure Dragon Academy was an imposing structure, filled with towering statues of legendary warriors. At the center sat Instructor Lei, flanked by a group of senior elders, each exuding powerful auras. Ren sure stood at the side, his face bandaged from the previous night's battle, his eyes filled with venom. He wasn't alone. Several high-ranking disciples stood beside him, their gazes sharp with hostility. Instructor Lei's gaze met Yu-chan's. Yu-chan, do you deny that you attacked fellow disciples in the dead of night? Yu-chan smirked. I was the one ambushed. Ren sure scoffed. Lies. You lured us in with false words and attacked us in the dark like a coward. Murmurs spread through the elders. Some frowned, others observed silently. Yu-chan folded his arms. If that were true, then why did I let you all live? Ren sure flinched. The confidence in Yu-chan's voice unsettled many. Instructor Lei exhaled. Regardless of the truth, fighting among disciples is strictly prohibited. However, as no lethal injuries were inflicted, we shall settle this with a formal challenge. Yu-chan raised an eyebrow. A challenge. Lei nodded. Since both sides refuse to back down, the Academy will not waste time with endless disputes. 3 days from now, you will face Ren Sure in an official duel in the Dragon Arena. This will determine who holds the right to lead among the new disciples. Ren Sure's lips curled into a smirk. 3 days? More than enough time to prepare. Yu-chan merely shrugged. Fine by me. The elders dismissed the gathering, and as Yu-chan walked out, he could feel the weight of countless gazes pressing upon him. Some were expectant, others filled with silent hostility. He had challenged the status quo of Azure Dragon Academy. Now he had to prove himself worthy. Yu-chan didn't waste time. If Ren Sure had 3 days, so did he. He made his way to the Thousand Blades Pavilion, one of the Academy's renowned training grounds. Here, students honed their swordsmanship against spectral warriors that adapted to their fighting styles. The pavilion's gatekeeper, an elderly man with sharp eyes, stopped him at the entrance. Only those ready to face their limits enter here. Are you prepared? Yu-chan nodded. More than ever. The gatekeeper smirked. Then step inside. The moment Yu-chan entered, a cold wind brushed against him. The dimly lit chamber shifted, and suddenly, he was no longer alone. A spectral swordsman, formed from glowing energy, materialized before him. System update. Training mode activated. Training grounds. Thousand Blades Pavilion. Opponent. Adaptive Sword Phantom, level 15. Techniques unlocked during training. Phantom Step, level 1, newly acquired. Allows instant directional shifts in combat. Heavenly Sword Requiem, level 1, newly acquired. A powerful finishing move that leaves an afterimage attack. The spectral warrior lunged without warning, its blade cutting through the air with terrifying speed. Clang! Yu-chan barely deflected the attack, his moonlit fang humming with power. The phantom didn't give him time to breathe. It moved fluidly, striking from impossible angles, forcing Yu-chan to activate flash step repeatedly. But something was different. As he dodged, his system adapted. He could feel a new technique taking shape. The moment the phantom struck again, Yu-chan activated phantom step. His body blurred. Instead of dodging backward, he shifted sideways mid-air, appearing at the phantom's blind spot. Slash! His blade struck true, slicing through the phantom's chest. The spectral warrior recoiled, flickering violently. But before it could counter, Yu-chan executed his final move, Heavenly Sword Requiem. His figure split into two, an afterimage remaining in place, while his real body dashed forward at an angle, attacking from both sides at once. Boom! The phantom collapsed. Training complete. Stat increase earned. A level, 10-11. Strength, 38-42. Agility, 42-47. Vitality, 34-38. Techniques improved. Oh Phantom Step, Level 1, Level 2. Oh Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 1, Level 2. Yu-chan exhaled, wiping sweat from his brow. He was ready. 3 days passed quickly. The Dragon Arena, a massive coliseum carved into the Academy's floating city, was packed with disciples eager to witness the showdown. Yu-chan stepped into the center of the arena, his moonlit Fong resting at his side. Across from him stood Renshi, his blade radiating a chilling frost chi. Today, Renshi sneered, you'll learn the difference between a mere recruit and a true warrior. Instructor Lei stood between them. This is an honor duel. Victory will determine who holds authority among the new disciples. He raised his hand. Begin. System update. Duel engaged. Opponent, Renshi, Level 14. Abilities. Frost Blade, Level 3. Enhances sword attacks with freezing energy. Glacier Step, Level 2. Allows movement through ice projections. Frozen Cage, Level 1. Traps the opponent in a frost barrier. Renshi moved first, his sword glowing blue as he swung. Yu-chan activated Phantom Step. Whoosh! He dodged, appearing at Renshi's flank. His blade shot forward in a precise arc. But Renshi had anticipated this. Clang! The air around him turned icy, and Yu-chan felt his movements slow. Frozen Cage. A barrier of frost erupted around him, locking him in place. The crowd gasped. He's trapped. Renshi smirked, raising his sword. You lose. But Yu-chan merely smiled. You forgot something. What? Yu-chan's body shimmered. An afterimage remained frozen in place, while his real body had already moved behind Renshi. Heavenly Sword Requiem. Renshi barely turned. Slash! A deep cut opened across his back, and he crashed to the ground, his blade falling from his grip. Silence. Then, winner Yu-chan. Instructor Lei announced. The arena erupted in cheers and shock. Yu-chan exhaled, sheathing his blade. He had proven his place. But deep inside, he knew the battles ahead would only grow harder. He had made an enemy of the entire inner sect. The roar of the crowd still echoed in the arena as Yu-chan stood over Renshi's fallen form. His breath was steady, his grip firm around moonlit Fong. The weight of the battle had already faded, leaving only the certainty of victory. Instructor Lei's voice rang through the Coliseum. Winner Yu-chan. The announcement sent waves through the gathered disciples. Some cheered, others gaped in stunned silence. The inner disciples, who had expected Renshi to crush the upstart outer disciple, wore grim expressions. Yu-chan glanced down at Renshi, who clutched his side, blood seeping through his robe. This is what happens when you underestimate me. Renshi's eyes burned with humiliation and rage. He struggled to stand, his knees shaking. This isn't over. Yu-chan sheathed his sword. I know. He turned and walked away, leaving Renshi kneeling in defeat. Word of Yu-chan's victory spread rapidly. He wasn't just another outer disciple anymore. He had defeated an inner disciple in an official duel. His name carried weight now. That night, as he returned to his residence, a system notification flashed before him. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 1112. Talent, Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength, 42-46. Agility, 47-52. Vitality, 38-42. Available stat points, 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, Level 2, Level 3. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 2, Level 3. Flash Step, Level 6, Level 7. Piercing Sword Light, Level 5, Level 6. Heavenly Blade Tempest, Level 4, Level 5. Dragon's Ascent, Level 2, Level 3. Weapons. Moonlit Fang, Epic Rank B. Yu-chan flexed his fingers. His speed and power had increased significantly. With every battle, he pushed past his limits. However, he knew his victory had made him more than just a rising talent. He was now a threat. Deep within the Azure Dragon Academy, a private meeting took place. In a grand hall lined with ancient scrolls, a group of elders and high-ranking disciples sat in discussion. Ren Shi knelt before them, his expression twisted in shame. "I demand a rematch." One of the elders, a sharp-eyed man with a silver beard, tapped his fingers on the table. "You lost fairly, Ren Shi. But he humiliated me." Ren Shi clenched his fists. "I cannot accept this." Another elder, Elder Zhao, smirked. "It seems the boy is stronger than expected, but we do not need brute force to remove an obstacle." The head disciple of the inner sect, Lu Tian, stepped forward. He was a towering figure, his aura exuding a powerful suppression. "If you cannot defeat Yu-chan in battle, we will crush him from the shadows." Elder Zhao nodded. "We have rules in this academy, Ren Shi. You lost in a fair fight. If you challenge him again so soon, it will damage your reputation." Ren Shi scowled but remained silent. Lu Tian smirked. "However, accidents happen. If Yu-chan is foolish enough to offend the wrong people, then his life at this academy will be difficult." Elder Zhao waved a hand. "Then it's settled. We will not attack him directly, but we will make sure he learns his place." Ren Shi's lips curled into a smirk. "That's all I wanted to hear." The next day, Yu-chan entered the Azure Dragon training grounds, where only top-tier disciples trained. Many students turned to stare as he walked past. Some whispered in admiration. "Did you hear? He took down Ren Shi in one move." "He's a monster, only an outer disciple, but already stronger than some of the inner sect." Others, however, watched with cold eyes. Yu-chan could feel their hostility. Ren Shi's allies were already moving against him. Instructor Lei approached. "Yu-chan." Yu-chan turned to face him. "Instructor." Lei gestured toward the training fields. "Since you have gained recognition, you will now take part in the Dragon Ascension trials." Yu-chan raised an eyebrow. "I thought that was only for advanced disciples." Lei smirked. "It is, but you've already broken expectations." The Dragon Ascension trials were a test that only inner disciples and high-ranking warriors took. It consisted of a series of dangerous combat trials, meant to push a cultivator beyond their limits. Yu-chan grinned. "When do we start?" Lei chuckled. "Now." Yu-chan stepped into a massive underground arena, where several elders watched from above. At the far end of the room, a massive steel gate slowly creaked open. A colossal beast emerged, its body made of reinforced iron scales, glowing red veins pulsing with energy. Its eyes locked onto Yu-chan. Trial beast identified. Ironhide Warg, level 18. Abilities. Titan Armor. Negates physical damage below a certain threshold. Infernal Charge. A devastating, flame-infused rush attack. Regeneration. Slowly heals over time. Yu-chan exhaled. A beast that absorbs physical damage. This will be tricky. The elders observed carefully. Some whispered among themselves. "Let's see if he's truly as strong as they say." The Ironhide Warg roared, shaking the walls before charging at Yu-chan at full speed. Yu-chan activated Flash Step, dodging just as the beast slammed into the stone wall, shattering the ground. The force of the attack was terrifying, but Yu-chan's instincts guided him. He slashed at the warg's side. Clang! His blade barely left a mark. Yu-chan frowned. Its armor is too strong. He needed a new strategy. Activating Phantom Step, he repositioned himself. The beast roared again, and Yu-chan saw an opening. Its eyes. He activated Heavenly Sword Requiem, dashing forward at a blinding speed. His afterimage remained behind while his real attack aimed directly at the beast's eye. Slash! A howl of pain shook the arena as his sword pierced through the warg's weak point. The massive creature staggered, thrashing wildly. Not wasting time, Yu-chan followed up with Dragon's Ascent, launching himself high into the air, and then diving down with a final attack. Boom! His blade pierced through the beast's skull, ending the fight. Silence. Then applause. The elders nodded in approval, while Instructor Lei smiled. He did it. One of the elders murmured. He actually won. Yu-chan stepped away from the fallen beast, breathing heavily. His system notification flickered. Trial completed. Dragon Ascension, first stage passed. Level up. Yu-chan, level 12, level 13. Stat increase. Strength +4, agility +5, vitality +3. Yu-chan smirked. The Academy's elites wanted to test him. Let them. He would rise higher than they ever imagined. The echoes of Yu-chan's victory over the Ironhide warg had not yet faded, yet he knew this was only the beginning. The Dragon Ascension trials were far from over, and he was now one step closer to proving his worth. As the elders discussed his performance, Instructor Lei approached. You've done well, Yu-chan, but the next trial will test more than just your swordsmanship. Yu-chan wiped the sweat from his brow. I expected nothing less. The instructor smirked. Then let's not waste time. The next trial begins at dawn. The following morning, Yu-chan and a handful of other disciples stood before a massive stone gate, covered in glowing ancient runes. Unlike the previous trial, which tested brute strength, this challenge demanded something else: strategy and survival. Elder Zhao stepped forward. The labyrinth of shadows is filled with dangers unknown to even us. You will not only face physical threats but illusions, traps, and tests of willpower. He waved his hand, and the gates creaked open, revealing a long, winding passage disappearing into darkness. The goal is simple, Elder Zhao continued. Reach the center of the labyrinth and retrieve the dragon's crest. Those who fail will be left behind. A murmur ran through the disciples. This was no simple test. This was a battle for survival. Yu-chan smirked. Then I just have to be the first to reach the center. The moment Yu-chan stepped into the labyrinth, the entrance vanished behind him, sealing him inside. A system notification appeared before him. System update. Trial engaged. Location: Labyrinth of Shadows. Effects: illusionary distortion. Perception of reality will shift unpredictably. Primary objective: obtain the dragon's crest from the central chamber. Secondary objective: survive. Yu-chan took a deep breath. This is more than just a maze. It's an illusion meant to break weaker minds. The corridors stretched endlessly, shifting as if alive. One moment he saw an open path ahead. The next, it twisted into a dead end. From the shadows, whispers echoed. Give up. You are not worthy. A flicker of movement. Yu-chan spun, moonlit fong flashing through the air. Clang. His sword met nothing but stone. A trick. The labyrinth is playing with my mind. Closing his eyes, he activated Phantom Step, focusing only on his instincts. Instead of relying on sight, he let his battle-honed senses guide him through the shifting corridors. After what felt like hours, he sensed true movement. Not an illusion. A real enemy. A low growl rumbled through the passage. Yu-chan opened his eyes to see 4 humanoid figures emerging from the walls, their bodies cloaked in black mist. They carried weapons, but their eyes were hollow, lifeless. Phantom Stalkers. New enemy identified. Phantom Stalkers, level 16. Abilities: Shadow Blink, allows instantaneous movement between shadows. Soul Rend, a strike that drains energy upon contact. Endless Hunt, they grow stronger the longer the battle lasts. Yu-chan didn't hesitate. Flash Step, he blurred forward, delivering a precise heavenly sword requiem, cutting through the nearest stalker's misty form. But instead of falling, the creature simply reformed, laughing in an eerie voice. Yu-chan frowned. So they regenerate. One of the stalkers lunged, claws extended. Yu-chan twisted midair, activating Phantom Step, evading the attack, and appearing behind it. Piercing Sword Light. A golden arc of energy sliced through the creature's core. This time, it let out a horrible shriek, vanishing entirely. Yu-chan's eyes gleamed. So they can't regenerate if they're completely destroyed. Boom. The remaining 3 stalkers attacked simultaneously, their claws infused with shadow energy. Yu-chan planted his foot firmly, gripping Moonlit Fong tightly. Fine. Let's end this. He activated Dragon's Ascent, launching himself upward, before descending with a devastating slash. Heavenly Blade Tempest. A whirlwind of golden sword energy erupted, engulfing the phantom stalkers completely. The creatures howled in agony as they were shredded apart. Silence. Then, a system notification. Combat complete. Phantom stalkers defeated. Stat increase. Agility +4. Strength +3. Vitality +2. Yu-chan exhaled, stepping over their fallen remains. No more distractions. Time to reach the center. After navigating the twisting halls, Yu-chan finally reached a massive stone door, ancient runes pulsating on its surface. As he stepped forward, his system flickered. Warning, Elite Guardian detected. The door rumbled open, revealing a massive chamber bathed in golden light. At its center sat the dragon's crest, an ornate emblem glowing with pure chi energy. But standing between Yu-chan and his prize was a towering spectral warrior clad in golden armor, wielding an enormous blade. Elite Guardian identified. Golden Warden, level 20. Abilities. Unbreakable Guard, blocks all frontal attacks, with no damage taken. Heaven's Judgment, a sword strike that can shatter spirit energy. Last Stand, becomes stronger the more damage it takes. Yu-chan's grip tightened around Moonlit Fong. Looks like I'll have to fight for it. The Golden Warden raised its blade, its deep voice echoing in the chamber. Prove your worth, warrior. Yu-chan smirked. I was planning to. The Warden charged forward, its blade cleaving through the air with terrifying force. Yu-chan dodged, barely avoiding the strike as the ground cracked beneath him. The Warden was fast, far faster than he expected. He activated Phantom Step, shifting position instantly. Slash. He aimed for its side. Clang. His sword bounced harmlessly off the Warden's unbreakable guard. Yu-chan narrowed his eyes. So frontal attacks are useless. The Warden retaliated with Heaven's Judgment, its sword glowing blinding white before slashing downward. Yu-chan crossed his arms, bracing himself. Boom. A shockwave sent him skidding across the chamber, his arms numb from the impact. He coughed, shaking off the pain. This guy is a monster. The Warden strode forward, raising its blade again. But Yu-chan grinned. Good. Now it's getting fun. He activated Heavenly Sword Requiem, his figure splitting into 2 afterimages. The Warden hesitated. That was all Yu-chan needed. He dashed behind it, Moonlit Fong glowing with immense energy. Heavenly Blade Tempest. A golden tornado of slashes tore through the Warden's unprotected back, shattering its armor. The Warden roared in agony. Yu-chan didn't stop. He leapt into the air. Dragon's Ascent. He came down like a falling star, his sword piercing straight through the Warden's core. The spectral warrior shuddered, then vanished into golden mist. The chamber fell silent. Yu-chan walked forward and claimed the dragon's crest. Trial complete. Labyrinth of shadows cleared. Level up. Yu-chan, level 13, level 14. Yu-chan smirked, holding the crest in his hands. Chapter 10. The Hidden Hands Move. Yu-chan stood in the silent chamber, dragon's crest in his grasp. The battle against the Golden Warden had pushed him to his limits, but the fire of victory burned within him. He had proven his strength once again. A system notification flickered before his eyes. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 1415. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 4650. Agility 5257. Vitality 4246. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, level 3, level 4. Heavenly Sword Requiem, level 3, level 4. Flash Step, level 7, level 8. Piercing Sword Light, level 6, level 7. Heavenly Blade Tempest, level 5, level 6. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 1415. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 4650. Agility 5257. Vitality 42-46. Available stat points, 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, Level 3, Level 4. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 3, Level 4. Flash Step, Level 7, Level 8. Piercing Sword Light, Level 6, Level 7. Heavenly Blade Tempest, Level 5, Level 6. Dragon's Ascent, Level 3, Level 4. Weapons. Moonlit Fang, Epic, Rank B+. His strength had grown again, but even as his power increased, so too did the danger surrounding him. The trial had ended, but his real battle was only beginning. As Yu-chan stepped out of the labyrinth of shadows, the sunlight blinded him for a brief moment. He wasn't alone. Several disciples and elders stood waiting. Some bore expressions of awe, others hostility. Instructor Lei smirked as he approached. Impressive. No one expected you to clear the trial this fast. One of the elders, Elder Zhao, crossed his arms. Even so, strength alone does not determine one's worth in this academy. Yu-chan met his gaze, unbothered. Then tell me, Elder, how do you determine worth? A few disciples gasped at his boldness, but Elder Zhao's smirk deepened. You'll find out soon enough. Yu-chan knew what this meant. His victories had drawn too much attention, and those in power did not like a new force rising so quickly. Late that night, deep within the academy's inner halls, a secret meeting was taking place. Elder Zhao sat with several high-ranking elders, and at the center of them all was Lu Tian, the strongest core disciple of Azure Dragon Academy. This is becoming a problem, Elder Zhao muttered. Yu-chan has grown too quickly. He has the talent, the ability, and now the reputation. Lu Tian's sharp eyes flickered with amusement. So, the academy thrives on strength. Zhao frowned. You don't understand. If he keeps rising, he will become a threat to the sect structure. Another elder, a man with deep scars across his face, nodded. We've seen this before. The strong challenge authority, and when they do, it leads to instability. Lu Tian smirked. Then what do you propose? Elder Zhao's voice turned cold. We make sure Yu-chan never reaches his full potential. A sinister silence filled the room. The following morning, the disciples gathered in the grand hall, where the elders would announce the final stage of the Dragon Ascension trials. Elder Zhao stepped forward, his voice smooth yet commanding. Those who have passed the previous trials will now face their final challenge. He gestured to the towering Dragon's Peak, a colossal floating mountain in the distance. The final trial is simple. Reach the summit of Dragon's Peak. The first disciple to claim the dragon's sigil at the top will be declared the victor. Murmurs spread through the disciples. That mountain is dangerous. I heard even core disciples struggle to climb it. Yu-chan remained calm. He knew this trial was meant to eliminate him. Elder Zhao smiled. One last thing. This is a free-for-all battle. Only the strongest will make it to the top. Yu-chan's eyes flickered. They're allowing open combat? So they want someone to take me out before I reach the peak. He smirked. Fine. Let's see them try. The trial began at midday. Over 50 disciples raced toward Dragon's Peak, each one determined to be the first to the top. Yu-chan moved swiftly, activating Flash Step to close the distance. He had barely made it past the first plateau when an ambush struck. Boom! A massive fireball exploded in front of him, sending rocks flying. From the shadows, 6 inner disciples emerged, smirking. So, Yu-chan, one of them sneered. This is where your journey ends. Yu-chan sighed. You people never learn. The ambushers attacked. One disciple wielded flame chi, launching streams of fire, while another used earth techniques to trap Yu-chan's movements. Yu-chan twisted midair, dodging the flames and countering with piercing sword light. Shrek! The golden energy tore through 2 attackers, sending them crashing down the mountain. The remaining disciples hesitated, fear in their eyes. Yu-chan smirked. Is that all? One of them snarled and charged with a spear coated in lightning. Yu-chan sidestepped, activated Phantom Step, and slash! With one clean motion, he disarmed the spearman and sent him tumbling down the cliffs. The final 2 ambushers turned to run, but Yu-chan let them go. They're not worth my time. As Yu Chan neared the summit, a powerful presence blocked his path. Lu Tian, the strongest core disciple, stood there, his crimson robes billowing in the wind. He held no weapon, only his fists. Yu Chan, Lu Tian said, his voice carrying amusement. You've come far. Yu Chan narrowed his eyes. Are you here to stop me? Lu Tian chuckled. Not stop. Test. He vanished. Boom. Before Yu Chan could react, Lu Tian's fist slammed into his chest, sending him flying backward. Crack. Yu Chan crashed into the rock, coughing up blood. He's strong. Lu Tian smirked. Come on. If you're really the strongest, prove it. Yu Chan wiped his mouth, eyes burning with determination. Fine. He activated Dragon's Ascent, launching forward at lightning speed. Their fists clashed, sending shock waves through the air. The final battle had begun. The sky above Dragon's Peak crackled with energy as Yu Chan and Lu Tian clashed. Each strike sent shock waves through the air, the raw power of their battle shaking the entire mountaintop. The gathered disciples watching below were in stunned silence, unable to comprehend the intensity of the duel unfolding before them. Yu Chan wiped the blood from his mouth, his chest aching from Lu Tian's earlier blow. The core disciple stood before him, arms crossed, completely unarmed, yet brimming with overwhelming strength. I'll admit, Lu Tian said, amusement flickering in his golden eyes. You've surpassed my expectations, but you're not ready to stand at the peak yet. Yu Chan exhaled sharply. He's testing me, not trying to kill me. That was the only reason he was still standing. Then let's change that, Yu Chan said, gripping Moonlit Fong tighter. I'll show you why I can't be stopped. Lu Tian smirked. Let's see it. System update. Combat engaged. Opponent, Lu Tian, level 20+. Abilities. Crimson Dragon Fist, level 7. Condenses chi into pure explosive force. Mountain Quake Step, level 5. A movement technique that crushes anything beneath it. Heaven Suppression, level 3. Creates an area where weaker opponents are slowed. The moment the system registered Lu Tian's abilities, Yu Chan's body tensed. This fight won't be like the others. If I go easy, I'll lose. He activated Phantom Step, vanishing from sight just as Lu Tian lunged forward, his fist crashing into the spot Yu Chan had just been standing in. The ground shattered, debris flying into the sky. Yu Chan appeared behind him, swinging Moonlit Fong in an arc. Boom! Lu Tian twisted at the last second, catching the blade with his bare hand. Yu Chan's eyes widened. He blocked it without a weapon. Lu Tian grinned and retaliated with a knee to the ribs. Yu Chan barely managed to block with his arm, but the impact sent him skidding backward, his boots carving deep grooves into the stone. I expected more, Lu Tian said, shaking off the energy residue from Yu Chan's attack. If this is all you have, I'll be disappointed. Yu Chan steadied himself. I'm just getting started. Heavenly Sword Requiem. 3 afterimages of Yu Chan materialized, each moving with identical speed. They surrounded Lu Tian, slashing at him from all angles. Lu Tian's expression shifted into something closer to respect. That's more like it. He stomped down, activating Mountain Quake Step. The air exploded with force, cracking the stone and sending Yu Chan's afterimages flickering out of existence. The real Yu Chan barely managed to escape using Flash Step, appearing above Lu Tian mid-air. He twisted his body, Dragon's Ascent boosting his descent, and slammed his sword down with all his might. Lu Tian lifted his arm to block. Boom! The impact sent a thunderous shockwave rippling across the mountaintop. Even the disciples below had to shield their eyes as dust and energy blasted outward. For a moment, silence. Then Lu Tian emerged from the dust cloud, his arm bleeding slightly. Yu Chan landed, gripping his sword tightly. I see. You're not invincible after all. Lu Tian inspected the wound and let out a chuckle. Not bad. But his chi erupted, a crimson aura flaring around him like a dragon awakening. I'll end this in one move. Yu Chan's breath slowed. His instinct screamed at him. This next attack could kill him if he wasn't careful. Lu Tian's fist clenched, Crimson Dragon Fist surging with fiery energy. Yu Chan exhaled. Then I have to finish this first. He closed his eyes for a fraction of a second, his sword humming with an overwhelming energy. When he opened them again, they glowed with golden light. "Fine," Yu-chan said. "Let's see whose attack lands first." Both fighters vanished from sight. Boom! Their final strikes clashed, shaking the entire mountain. As the dust settled, Yu-chan remained standing, sword lowered. Lu Tian, however, stood a few feet away, blood dripping from his mouth. He stared at Yu-chan, then let out a quiet laugh. "You really are something else." Then he collapsed to one knee. Gasps rang through the crowd below. Lu Tian lost. This can't be real. Yu-chan took a slow breath. He had won. A system notification flashed. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 1516. Strength 5054. Agility 5762. Vitality 4650. Available stat points 50. Techniques improved. Phantom Step, Level 4, Level 5. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 4, Level 5. Dragon's Ascent, Level 4, Level 5. Crimson Dragon Fist, newly acquired, Level 1. Yu-chan smirked. "So I even gained one of Lu Tian's techniques?" Elder Zhao's face darkened as he stepped forward. The victor of the Dragon Ascension trials is Yu-chan. The disciples watching erupted into shock and disbelief. Some cheered, while others remained silent, processing the impossible reality. Yu-chan turned to Lu Tian. "You fought well." Lu Tian chuckled. "Likewise. But this is just the beginning." Yu-chan nodded. "I wouldn't have it any other way." As Yu-chan descended the mountain, he could feel countless eyes on him, some filled with admiration, others with murderous intent. Deep in the shadows, Elder Zhao whispered to one of his subordinates, "This boy is growing too fast. We need to act soon." The shadowy figure nodded. "I'll take care of it." As Yu-chan stepped into the academy halls, a storm of new enemies gathered in the darkness. But Yu-chan simply smiled. "Let them come." Yu-chan descended Dragon's Peak, his mind sharp despite the exhaustion creeping into his limbs. His victory over Lu Tian had not just secured his place at the top of the Dragon Ascension trials, it had painted a target on his back. The Azure Dragon Academy thrived on strength, but power alone did not rule this world. Politics, hidden alliances, and the unseen hands of the elders played a greater game. As he stepped into the academy grounds, a voice greeted him. "Impressive win, Yu-chan." Yu-chan turned to see Instructor Lei, arms crossed, watching him with a smirk. "You're making quite a name for yourself." Yu-chan gave a small nod. Winning was the only option. Lei chuckled. "That's the right attitude. But be careful. Not all victories are celebrated." Yu-chan's eyes narrowed. He understood what Lei meant. The elders wouldn't stand by and let an upstart like me disrupt their order. Lei's gaze turned serious. "Elder Zhao and the other high-ranking figures, they don't like you. And trust me, they won't just rely on simple assassins." Yu-chan smirked. "Then let them come." Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 1617. Talent, Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength, 5458. Agility, 6266. Vitality, 5054. Available stat points, 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, Level 5, Level 6. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 5, Level 6. Dragon's Ascent, Level 5, Level 6. Crimson Dragon Fist, Level 1, Level 3. Weapons. Moonlit Fong, Epic Rank A. Yu-chan clenched his fists. The battle with Lu Tian had pushed him beyond his previous limits. His mastery over Crimson Dragon Fist had improved rapidly, a testament to his ability to learn powerful techniques quickly. But he still needed more strength. Before Yu-chan could return to his training, a messenger approached. "The headmaster requests your presence." Yu-chan raised an eyebrow. The headmaster of Azure Dragon Academy. He had not expected this so soon. Arriving at the main hall, he found himself in front of Headmaster Qin, an elderly man radiating unfathomable power. Though the headmaster rarely involved himself in sect politics, his presence alone commanded absolute authority. "Yu-chan," Qin said, his tone neutral. "You've made quite the impact in this academy." Yu-chan kept his expression unreadable. I only did what I had to. Chin's sharp eyes studied him. I have been watching your progress. Few can rise as quickly as you have. But with power comes responsibility. Yu-chan remained silent. He knew there was more. Elder Zhao and several of the council members believe you are a destabilizing force. They will not move against you openly, but they will seek ways to test you. Yu-chan smirked. Then I'll pass every test. Chin chuckled. Good. That is what I wanted to hear. He handed Yu-chan a scroll. Your next challenge will determine whether you stand as a true core disciple or remain as an outsider. Yu-chan unrolled the scroll, his eyes narrowing at the words inside. Mission assigned, the Black Mist Assassins. Objective, eliminate the rogue sect that has been targeting Academy disciples. Location, Forbidden Night Valley. Difficulty, high. Yu-chan's fingers tightened around the parchment. A mission outside the Academy? He knew what this meant. They were trying to kill him indirectly. Chin's expression turned sharp. Survive, Yu-chan, and prove them all wrong. 2 days later, Yu-chan stood at the entrance of Forbidden Night Valley. A mist covered the land, its eerie presence thick with killing intent. He wasn't alone. 3 other disciples had been assigned to this mission. Among them were Jiang Lei, a strong swordsman Yu-chan had defeated in the past, Mei Lin, a skilled spear user, and Bai Yun, a mysterious rogue disciple known for his silent nature. This isn't just a test, Mei Lin muttered, her spear gripped tightly. It's an execution order. Yu-chan nodded. That's why we don't die. Jiang Lei scoffed. Easy for you to say. I didn't fight my way to the top, just to be thrown into some death trap. Bai Yun remained silent, his sharp eyes scanning the surroundings. Something is watching us. The group fell into formation, weapons at the ready. A whisper drifted through the valley. You shouldn't have come here. Boom. The trees exploded, and from the shadows, masked figures emerged, the Black Mist Assassins. System update, enemy engaged. Black Mist Assassin, level 19. Abilities. Shadow Step, instantly moves through darkness. Silent Kill, lethal attack that ignores defenses. Poison Blade, inflicts deadly toxins with each cut. Yu-chan's eyes sharpened. Stay together. The assassin struck first, their blades glinting with poison chi. Mei Lin blocked an incoming strike with her spear, but the impact forced her back. Yu-chan moved instinctively, activating Phantom Step to avoid an attack from behind. He countered with Piercing Sword Light, sending a golden arc cutting through the darkness. Splurge. One assassin fell, but the others didn't hesitate. Jiang Lei parried 2 strikes at once, while Bai Yun vanished into the mist, reappearing behind an enemy and slicing their throat. Yu-chan turned just in time to block a dagger aimed at his heart. He locked eyes with the assassin, a leader, stronger than the rest. Enemy identified. Black Mist Commander, level 21. Abilities. Death's Embrace, a technique that drains life energy on impact. Shadow Clone, creates illusions to confuse the enemy. Void Slash, a strike that ignores defenses. The commander smirked. I was hoping to meet you, Yu-chan. Yu-chan exhaled. This one would be a challenge. The assassin leader attacked in a blur, his speed unnatural. Yu-chan barely dodged, feeling a cut open across his arm. But instead of pain, his strength weakened. Jiang Lei shouted, He's draining your energy. Yu-chan gritted his teeth. Then I just have to end this quickly. He activated Crimson Dragon Fist, his arm igniting with a burning aura. Lu Tian's technique, combined with his sword mastery. The assassin leader sensed the danger, but it was too late. Yu-chan vanished, appearing behind him. Boom! His flaming punch struck true, sending the commander crashing into the valley floor. The ground trembled from the force. Silence followed. The remaining assassins hesitated, then fled into the darkness. A system notification flashed. Mission update. Black Mist Assassins defeated. Level up. Yu-chan, level 17, level 18. Stat increase. Strength +4, agility +3, vitality +3. Jiang Lei collapsed onto a rock. Remind me never to get on your bad side. Mei Lin wiped her spear. That was insane. Yu-chan sighed, glancing at the fallen commander. This isn't over. From the shadows, another presence watched. The real mastermind had yet to reveal themselves. The air in Forbidden Night Valley still carried the scent of blood as Yuchan stood over the remains of the Black Mist commander. His heart pounded, not from exertion but from instinct. He was still being watched. His system flickered a warning. System update. Presence detected. New entity identified. Unknown power signature. Threat level. Objective. Investigate or retreat. Yuchan's gaze darted to the dense shadows beyond the battlefield. Something, or someone was there. His instinct screamed danger. Someone's still watching us. Bayun murmured, his hand tightening on his dagger. Yuchan gave a slight nod. It's not over yet. From the mist, a slow clap echoed. A figure stepped forward, shrouded in black robes, a mask covering half of their face. Unlike the assassins they had just faced, this person exuded a suffocating aura. Jiang lay cursed under his breath. Who the hell is that? Yuchan's eyes sharpened. The real leader. The masked figure chuckled. Impressive, Yuchan. I had expected you to struggle, but you wiped out my assassins with ease. Yuchan didn't lower his sword. Who are you? The man tilted his head. Names are meaningless to the dead. But if you must know, I am Elder Zhao's enforcer. Silence. The weight of his words settled over them like a lead curtain. Yuchan smirked. So the elders are finally showing their true colors. The masked man stepped forward. Elder Zhao had hoped this mission would be your end. Yet here you stand. His hand lifted, revealing a twisted dagger pulsing with dark energy. I suppose I'll have to finish what the others failed to do. System update. Enemy engaged. Elite enemy. Black Phantom. Level 22. Abilities. A Shadow Dominion. Can manipulate the shadows around him. Soul Piercer. A technique that bypasses physical defenses. Phantom Mirage. Creates illusory clones. Yuchan's grip tightened around Moonlit Fong. This opponent was leagues above the assassins. The Black Phantom vanished. A cold wind brushed Yuchan's skin. Clang. Yuchan twisted just in time to block a dagger strike aimed at his throat. The force behind it sent him sliding backward. The masked man smirked. Good reflexes. But let's see how you handle this. Phantom Mirage. The air warped, and suddenly, 4 identical clones of the Black Phantom surrounded Yuchan. Mei Lin shouted, We'll cover you. She and Jiang Lei lunged forward to engage the clones. Yuchan didn't hesitate. He activated Heavenly Sword Requiem, slashing through 2 clones in a single motion, only to feel a cold blade press against his back. The real Black Phantom stood behind him. You're fast, the assassin whispered, but not fast enough. A burning pain sliced across Yuchan's shoulder as Soul Piercer struck. His vision blurred momentarily as his energy drained. Damn, Yuchan muttered, stumbling forward. Jiang Lei charged in, swinging his sword to intercept, but the Black Phantom melted into the shadows, reappearing several feet away. Yuchan clenched his fists. He's faster than me in the dark. Then, realization struck. Light. Yuchan raised Moonlit Fong skyward, channeling his chi into the blade. The sword flared with radiant golden light, pushing the darkness back. The Black Phantom hissed as his shadows shrank away. Yuchan smirked. Your tricks don't work in the light. He launched forward, activating Dragon's Ascent. The Black Phantom tried to retreat, but Yuchan was already upon him. Crimson Dragon Fist. His flaming strike smashed into the Black Phantom's chest, sending him crashing into a stone pillar. Boom! The ground trembled from the impact. Silence. Jiang Lei exhaled. Is he dead? Yuchan lowered his sword. No. From the rubble, the Black Phantom coughed up blood, his body broken, but not lifeless. You really are something else, the assassin murmured. No wonder Elder Zhao fears you. Yuchan's expression turned cold. Go back and tell him. I'm coming for him. The Black Phantom grinned despite his wounds. You think you've won? He pressed his hand against his chest, and suddenly, his body began dissolving into dark mist. Mei Lin's eyes widened. He's escaping. Yuchan lunged forward, but his sword cut through empty air. The assassin's form vanished into the night, leaving behind only the lingering stench of dark qi. Jiang lay cursed. Damn it, he got away. Yu-chan sheathed his sword. It doesn't matter. Mei Lin frowned. It doesn't. Yu-chan smirked. Because he just confirmed what I needed to know. Bai Yun, who had remained silent, finally spoke. Elder Zhao won't stop until you're dead. Yu-chan's eyes gleamed. Then I won't give him the chance. System update. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 1819. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 5862. Agility 6671. Vitality 5457. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Phantom Step Level 6, Level 7. Heavenly Sword Requiem Level 6, Level 7. Crimson Dragon Fist Level 3, Level 4. Moonlit Blade Aura newly acquired Level 1. Weapons Moonlit Fong Epic Rank A. Yu-chan exhaled. His power had increased again, but this was just the beginning. He turned to his team. Let's return to the academy. We have unfinished business. Far away, deep within the Azure Dragon Academy, Elder Zhao sat in his private chamber, sipping tea as the Black Phantom appeared before him, kneeling. You failed, Elder Zhao said simply. The assassin lowered his head. He is stronger than expected. Zhao's expression darkened. Then we must take greater measures. Another figure stepped forward from the shadows. A tall man, his face hidden behind a silver mask. I will handle Yu-chan personally, the masked figure said. Elder Zhao smirked. Good. Then let's remind him that even the strongest can fall. The journey back to Azure Dragon Academy was quiet, yet Yu-chan felt the weight of what had just transpired. The Black Mist Assassins were merely a pawn in a larger game, one orchestrated by Elder Zhao. His fingers clenched around the hilt of Moonlit Fong. He had won the battle, but the war had just begun. As Yu-chan and his team passed through the academy gates, disciples paused their training to stare. Some whispered in awe, others in disbelief. He actually came back alive. I heard Elder Zhao sent him to die. Not only did he survive, but the assassins were wiped out. Yu-chan ignored them. Let them talk. Soon, they would see his true strength. At the entrance to the Grand Hall, a figure was waiting. Lu Tian. The core disciple folded his arms, his golden eyes studying Yu-chan. You just keep surviving, don't you? Yu-chan smirked. Disappointed. Lu Tian chuckled. Not at all. In fact, I'm impressed. But that just means you'll have even stronger enemies now. Yu-chan's expression darkened. I know. Lu Tian nodded. Then prepare yourself. Elder Zhao won't let this go. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 1920. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 6266. Agility 7175. Vitality 5760. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Phantom Step Level 7 Level 8. Heavenly Sword Requiem Level 7 Level 8. Crimson Dragon Fist Level 4 Level 5. Moonlit Blade Aura Level 1 Level 3. Weapons. Moonlit Fong Epic Rank A+. Yu-chan felt the changes coursing through his body. His agility had surpassed most core disciples, and his newly refined techniques would ensure that no one could take him lightly. Far within the academy, Elder Zhao stood in his private chambers, his fingers drumming against the wooden desk. Before him knelt a man clad in silver armor, a ceremonial mask covering his face. You understand your task. Zhao's voice was cold. The masked man spoke, his voice devoid of emotion. Kill him. Elder Zhao nodded. Failure is not an option. Yu-chan must die before he becomes untouchable. The assassin stood. By dawn he will be gone. That night, Yu-chan sat in quiet meditation within his courtyard, the moon casting silver light over the stone floor. His senses were sharp, his body fully aware of the movements around him. Then the air shifted, the whisper of steel cutting through the wind. Yu-chan moved just in time. Clang! A dagger collided with Moonlit Fong, the force sending Yu-chan sliding back. He landed in a crouch, eyes locking onto the masked assassin standing before him. The assassin's voice was calm. You were faster than expected. Yu-chan smirked. You think I wouldn't notice an amateur sneaking into my courtyard? The assassin tilted his head. Amateur. He vanished. Yu-chan's instinct screamed. He spun around just as the assassin reappeared behind him, a sword aimed for his spine. Boom! Yu-chan activated Dragon's Ascent, launching upward, barely dodging the attack. The assassin stood where he had been, his sword piercing empty space. His mask remained unreadable, but his aura was unmistakably deadly. System update. Enemy engaged. Elite enemy. Silver Phantom, level 24. Abilities. Void Step. Moves without leaving a trace, avoiding detection. Soul Severance. A strike that targets the spirit directly. Death's Whisper. A technique that slows the opponent's reaction speed. Yu-chan landed on the far side of the courtyard, his eyes narrowing. This assassin was stronger than the Black Phantom. Faster. More precise. And worst of all, he was completely calm. Yu-chan exhaled slowly. So, you're Elder Zhao's trump card. The Silver Phantom twirled his blade. Titles mean little. I am merely the blade that removes obstacles. Yu-chan chuckled. You talk too much. He launched forward, activating Phantom Step. The two clashed at blinding speed, blades flashing in the night. Every strike was meticulously timed, every dodge a calculated move. Neither could land a clean hit. Then, Yu-chan noticed something. His body was slowing down. His system flashed a warning. Status update. Negative effect detected. Effect. Death's Whisper. Reaction speed reduced by 20%. Yu-chan cursed. The assassin had already landed an invisible technique on him. The Silver Phantom smirked beneath his mask. It's over. He struck, his sword moving in a way that defied logic. Yu-chan saw it coming, but his body was too slow to react. A flash of pain erupted across his chest. He stumbled back, blood dripping onto the stone floor. The assassin didn't relent. He pressed forward, his strikes relentless. Yu-chan's mind raced. I can't keep up like this. I need to change the flow. Then he made his choice. He stopped dodging. Instead, he charged straight into the assassin's next attack. The Silver Phantom's blade pierced his shoulder, but Yu-chan's own attack struck true. Crimson Dragon Fist. His flaming fist collided with the assassin's chest, sending him flying backward. Boom! The Silver Phantom skidded across the ground, slamming into a stone pillar. Silence. Then, Yu-chan pulled the blade from his shoulder, blood dripping down his arm. He glared at the assassin, his golden eyes burning with rage. You made one mistake. Yu-chan growled. The Silver Phantom coughed, struggling to rise. And what was that? Yu-chan smirked. Thinking I wouldn't bleed to win. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 2021. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 6670. Agility 7578. Vitality 6064. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Phantom Step Level 8, Level 9. Heavenly Sword Requiem Level 8, Level 9. Moonlit Blade Aura Level 3, Level 5. Weapons. Moonlit Fong Epic Rank S. The Silver Phantom tried to stand, but Yu-chan appeared before him in an instant. A single punch sent the assassin crashing into the ground, unconscious. Yu-chan exhaled. Elder Zhao had made his move. Now it was his turn. Time to end this. The cold night breeze swept across the academy, carrying the scent of blood from Yu-chan's courtyard. The Silver Phantom lay unconscious on the shattered stone floor, his mask cracked, revealing a glimpse of the man beneath. Yu-chan wiped the blood from his mouth and exhaled slowly. He had won, but the real battle was just beginning. His golden eyes burned with determination as he turned his gaze toward the inner halls of the Azure Dragon Academy. It was time. Word of the battle spread like wildfire. By dawn, disciples whispered among themselves, their voices filled with shock and excitement. Did you hear? Yu-chan survived another assassination attempt. He took down a level 24 assassin alone. This is getting dangerous. Elder Zhao won't let this slide. Within the Grand Hall, the Academy's elders gathered in tense silence. At the head of the room, Headmaster Qin sat with an unreadable expression, while Elder Zhao stood with his hands folded behind his back. The door to the hall slammed open. Yu Chan strode inside, his presence commanding the room. Behind him, Lu Tian followed, his arms crossed as he observed the unfolding drama. "I see you're alive," Elder Zhao said coolly. Yu Chan smirked, disappointed. Zhao's fingers twitched, but his face remained calm. "You should tread carefully. Yu Chan accusations without proof mean nothing." Yu Chan stepped forward, throwing the broken mask of the silver phantom onto the table before the gathered elders. "Is this proof enough?" Silence filled the hall. Headmaster Qin's sharp gaze flickered to Elder Zhao. "Explain this." Zhao didn't flinch. "A mere assassin's mask? That proves nothing." Yu Chan chuckled. "Then how about this?" He raised his hand, activating his system's analysis function, revealing a holographic projection of the battle the night before. Every strike, every movement, including the assassin's admission of serving Elder Zhao. The elders murmured in shock. Elder Zhao's expression darkened. "This means nothing. Do you expect us to believe your little tricks?" Yu Chan's smirk widened. "I don't need you to believe it. I just need the sect to see who you truly are." Zhao's patience snapped. "Enough." His aura exploded outward, shaking the grand hall as his chi surged. "A level 30 powerhouse. You dare challenge me?" he growled, his killing intent suffocating the room. Yu Chan's system flickered a warning. "System update. Combat engaged. Opponent, Elder Zhao, level 30. Abilities. Heaven's Wrath. Calls forth an overwhelming pressure on all weaker opponents. Celestial Palm. A technique that shatters defenses. Soul Suppression. Weakens the spirit of those who stand against him." Yu Chan took a deep breath. He wasn't at Zhao's level yet, but he didn't need to be. He activated Phantom Step, vanishing just as Zhao lunged forward, his palm crashing into the spot where Yu Chan had stood. The sheer force shattered the marble floor. The elders leapt back in alarm. "Zhao, stand down." Headmaster Qin commanded, but Zhao ignored him, his focus locked onto Yu Chan. "Arrogant boy," Zhao sneered. "You don't know your place." Yu Chan reappeared behind him, sword gleaming with golden energy. Heavenly Sword Requiem. His blade slashed downward, but Zhao twisted, catching it bare-handed. The impact cracked the air, but Zhao's grip held firm. Yu Chan's eyes narrowed. "I need more power." He poured chi into his attack, but Zhao flicked his wrist, sending a shockwave that hurled Yu Chan backward. Boom! Yu Chan crashed against the hall's stone pillars, blood trickling from his lips. The elders watched in stunned silence. Lu Tian stepped forward. "Enough. If you kill him here, the academy will never recover." Zhao scoffed. He should have died in the first place. Yu Chan pushed himself up, wiping the blood from his mouth. "You're scared." Zhao's expression turned cold. "Scared?" Yu Chan smirked. "That's why you sent assassins. That's why you tried to kill me before I got too strong. And now, you're trying to finish the job before it's too late." He lifted his blade. Golden energy flared around him. "I'm not dying today." Zhao's aura darkened. "Then I'll break you." He lunged again, his palm glowing with celestial palm, aiming for Yu Chan's heart. Yu Chan didn't dodge. Instead, he activated Moonlit Blade Aura, amplifying his strength beyond its previous limits. Boom! The two forces clashed, sending a shockwave through the entire grand hall. Zhao's eyes widened as Yu Chan stood firm, his sword holding against his attack. Then, crack! A deep fracture split through the grand hall floor. Zhao staggered back, his palm trembling. Silence. Yu Chan took a slow breath, his body pulsing with newfound strength. He wasn't on Zhao's level yet, but he was close. Headmaster Qin rose from his seat. "Enough. This ends now." Zhao clenched his fists. "This boy is now a core disciple." Qin interrupted. Gasps rang through the hall. Yu Chan blinked. "What?" Qin's gaze met his. "You have proven yourself beyond doubt. From this moment, you are no longer an outsider." Zhao's face twisted in fury. "You're making a mistake." Qin's voice was final. "No, Zhao. You did." Zhao's teeth clenched, but he could do nothing. The academy had made its choice. Yu-chan had won. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 21-22. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 70-74. Agility 78-82. Vitality 64-68. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, Level 9, Level 10. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 9, Level 10. Moonlit Blade Aura, Level 5, Level 6. Dragon's Ascent, Level 6, Level 7. Weapons. Moonlit Fong, Epic, Rank S+. As the Grand Hall slowly returned to order, Yu-chan stepped forward, locking eyes with Elder Zhao one last time. "This isn't over," Zhao whispered. Yu-chan smirked. "I know." But now, he had the sect's full recognition, and with that, the real battle was about to begin. The weight of the moment still lingered in the Grand Hall as Yu-chan left the chamber. Though he had been officially recognized as a core disciple, he knew that this victory had only pushed him deeper into the Academy's power struggle. Elder Zhao wouldn't forget this humiliation. The other elders had mixed reactions, some indifferent, some clearly uneasy with Headmaster Qin's decision. But none of it mattered. Yu-chan had carved his place into the Academy. The core disciple quarters were located in the inner sanctum of the Academy, a place Yu-chan had never set foot in before. Unlike the outer disciples' living spaces, which were modest and simple, the quarters here were lavish, each one built with cultivation-enhancing formations that helped refine qi at a rapid pace. When Yu-chan stepped inside, he immediately felt his energy circulate more smoothly, as if the very air around him was nourishing his strength. System notification. New residents acquired. Core Disciple Chamber. Energy absorption rate increased by 20%. Yu-chan's smirk grew. "This will help me grow stronger even faster." He glanced at the training field outside, where several core disciples were engaged in sparring matches. Their chi flared as they exchanged blows, some wielding swords, others controlling elemental techniques far beyond what the outer disciples could handle. Lu Tian leaned against the doorframe of Yu-chan's new quarters, arms crossed. "So, how does it feel?" Yu-chan met his gaze. "Like I belong here." Lu Tian nodded. "Good, because they won't make it easy for you." Yu-chan raised an eyebrow. "They?" Lu Tian gestured toward the training field. "The other core disciples. Many of them earned their positions through sect contributions, faction alliances, or personal connections. You forced your way in." Yu-chan smirked. "Then I'll make sure they remember why." Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 22-23. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 74-77. Agility 82-85. Vitality 68-72. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, Level 10, Level 11. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 10, Level 11. Moonlit Blade Aura, Level 6, Level 7. Dragon's Ascent, Level 7, Level 8. Weapons. Moonlit Fong, Epic, Rank S+. Yu-chan barely had time to settle in when a messenger arrived at his doorstep. "You've been summoned to the core disciple arena," the young disciple announced. "Someone has issued a formal challenge." Yu-chan smirked. That didn't take long. As he walked toward the arena, Lu Tian walked beside him. "Do you know who it is?" Yu-chan shook his head. "Doesn't matter." When they arrived, a large crowd had already gathered. Core disciples stood in the elevated stands, whispering amongst themselves. At the center of the arena stood Zhao Feng, a high-ranking core disciple with a ferocious reputation. His eyes glowed with confidence as he watched Yu-chan step forward. "I couldn't believe it when I heard you were made a core disciple," Zhao Feng said, voice dripping with arrogance. "So I thought I'd test you myself." Yu-chan chuckled. "And what happens when you lose?" The crowd murmured at his confidence, but Zhao Feng merely smirked. "You won't last long enough for that to be a problem." System update. Combat engaged. Opponent. Zhao Feng, Level 25. Abilities. Thunderous Strike, a powerful sword technique infused with lightning. Mountain Guard Stance, a defensive stance that negates chi-based attacks. Sky Piercer Slash, a ranged sword technique that sends shockwaves at enemies. The match began instantly. Zhao Feng lunged, his blade crackling with lightning as he executed thunderous strike. Yu Chan dodged at the last second, the energy from the attack shattering the stone where he had stood. He retaliated with moonlit blade aura, his sword cutting through the air like a streak of silver light. Zhao Feng barely managed to block, but the force sent him skidding backward. The crowd gasped. Zhao Feng gritted his teeth. Not bad, but let's see how you handle this. He slammed his sword into the ground, activating Mountain Guard stance. A barrier of chi surrounded him, nullifying most incoming attacks. Yu Chan smirked. So he thinks turtling up will work? He took a deep breath, focusing his chi into a single point. Dragon's Ascent. His figure vanished, appearing above Zhao Feng in an instant. The other disciple's eyes widened. What? Yu Chan struck downward, his blade bypassing the barrier entirely. Splurch. The impact sent Zhao Feng crashing into the arena floor, his defenses shattered. Silence. Then, the arena erupted in cheers and stunned murmurs. Yu Chan flicked his sword, the blood sliding off effortlessly. You were saying? Zhao Feng groaned, barely able to rise. He had lost. The match was over. System update. Victory achieved. Opponent defeated Zhao Feng. +2 level increase. Strength +5. Agility +4. Vitality +4. New ability unlocked. Sky Piercer / level 1. Yu Chan sheathed his sword and turned to leave, but not before catching the deadly glare of Elder Zhao, who watched from the stands above. The Elder's expression promised only one thing. This wasn't over. Yu Chan smirked. Good. Let them all come. The roar of the crowd still echoed in Yu Chan's ears as he left the core disciple arena. His battle with Zhao Feng had been decisive, but it was only the first in a long chain of challenges. His victory had sent a clear message. He was not someone to be underestimated. But as he walked through the corridors leading back to his new quarters, his instinct screamed at him. He was being watched. Yu Chan kept his posture relaxed but subtly shifted his movements, using phantom step to navigate the narrow pathways in an unpredictable pattern. He caught a glimpse of a shadow flickering in the distance, a figure cloaked in black, carefully keeping their distance. A spy. His smirk grew. Elder Zhao isn't wasting any time. Instead of engaging immediately, Yu Chan acted as if he hadn't noticed. He led the watcher deeper into the secluded part of the inner sanctum, where few disciples ventured at night. As soon as he reached a dead-end courtyard, he stopped abruptly. Then he turned. Come out. Silence. Yu Chan's fingers tightened around Moonlit Feng, his senses on high alert. A flicker of movement behind him. Clang. He spun just in time to block a dagger aimed at his ribs. The force of the attack sent him skidding back slightly. The masked assailant in front of him pulled their blade back, eyes glinting in the darkness. Yu Chan sighed. That was sloppy. The assassin lunged again, faster this time, but Yu Chan was ready. System update. Enemy engaged. Opponent. Shadow Assassin, level 26. Abilities. Silent Blade. Allows movement without sound. Blood Veil. Temporarily boosts speed at the cost of stamina. Dark Step. Enables rapid teleportation within a small radius. Yu Chan countered the first strike, parrying with ease. The assassin flickered out of existence, using Dark Step to appear behind him, but Yu Chan had already anticipated the move. He activated Sky Piercer / a new technique he had acquired from Zhao Feng. A crescent-shaped chi / erupted from his blade, forcing the assassin to retreat. The figure growled under their breath. You were expecting me. Yu Chan tilted his head. Wouldn't be much of a core disciple if I wasn't. The assassin vanished into the shadows again, but Yu Chan remained calm. Still hiding, he mused. Fine. Then let's see you hide from this. He lifted Moonlit Feng, pouring chi into its core. Moonlit Blade Aura, expanded field. A burst of radiant silver energy erupted outward, illuminating every corner of the courtyard. The moment the light touched the assassin, their stealth technique shattered. The masked figure cursed. Damn it. Yu Chan appeared before them in an instant. His fist crashed into their chest, sending them flying into the stone wall. Boom. The assassin crumpled to the ground, coughing blood. Yu Chan crouched beside them, pressing his blade against their throat. Who sent you? The assassin chuckled weakly. You already know. Yu Chan's smirk never wavered. You'll deliver a message to your master. Tell Elder Zhao that if he wants me dead, he'll have to try harder. The assassin's eyes flickered with uncertainty, but they nodded slowly. Yu Chan stepped back, allowing the battered figure to vanish into the night. Status check. Name Yu Chan. Level 23-24. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 77-80. Agility 85-88. Vitality 72-75. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, Level 11, Level 12. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 11, Level 12. Moonlit Blade Aura, Level 7, Level 8. Sky Piercer Slash, Level 1, Level 3. Weapons. Moonlit Fong, Epic, Rank S+. Yu Chan returned to his quarters, deep in thought. Elder Zhao's moves were becoming more desperate. There was no doubt about it now. Zhao saw him as a direct threat to his power within the academy. But an assassination attempt this early? It was reckless, which meant Zhao was losing control. A knock on his door pulled him from his thoughts. He opened it to find Lu Tian standing there, his usual smirk replaced with something more serious. You made another enemy tonight, Lu Tian said, stepping inside. Yu Chan shrugged. Nothing new. Lu Tian exhaled. There's something you need to know. Elder Zhao isn't acting alone. Yu Chan's eyes narrowed. Go on. Lu Tian sat down, his expression grim. There's a faction within the academy, one that's been operating in the shadows for years. Elder Zhao is only one piece of the puzzle. Yu Chan crossed his arms. And let me guess. They see me as an obstacle. Lu Tian nodded. You're rising too fast. If they don't stop you now, they'll lose any chance of controlling the academy's future. Yu Chan's smirk returned. Then I'll just have to make sure they never get that chance. Lu Tian sighed. That's what I expected you to say. A heavy silence settled between them before Lu Tian spoke again. There's a gathering in 2 nights. The faction's elite will be there. If you want to know the full extent of your enemies, that's where you need to be. Yu Chan nodded. Then I'll be there. As Lu Tian left, Yu Chan's golden eyes gleamed with anticipation. The 2 days leading up to the gathering of the hidden faction were filled with preparation. Yu Chan honed his skills, ensuring he was at peak condition. He meditated for hours, refining his chi flow and enhancing his moonlit blade aura. He wasn't just preparing for a meeting. He was preparing for war. The night of the gathering arrived. Lu Tian led Yu Chan through a hidden passageway beneath the Azure Dragon Academy, its tunnels dimly lit by flickering lanterns. The deeper they went, the more the air hummed with suppressed energy. We're close, Lu Tian murmured. Yu Chan's sharp gaze caught sight of intricate symbols carved into the stone walls, ancient formations designed to suppress detection. These people have been planning for a long time. As they emerged into a massive underground chamber, Yu Chan immediately noticed a group of powerful figures seated in a semicircle. They radiated authority and ambition. Some were elders, others were core disciples, and a few wore robes marked with sect insignias from beyond the academy. Elder Zhao stood at the head of the gathering. Yu Chan smirked. No surprise there. Welcome, Zhao said, his voice smooth, but his eyes burned with concealed rage. I must admit, I wasn't expecting you to accept our invitation. Yu Chan crossed his arms. It's only polite to meet your enemies before crushing them. Several figures chuckled, while others glared. One elder, Elder Bai, stroked his beard. Confident, aren't you? Yu Chan shrugged. Only when I know I'm right. Zhao stepped forward. Enough pleasantries. Yu Chan, you've upset the balance of the academy. Many here believe you are a threat to everything we have built. Yu Chan met his gaze. You mean I'm a threat to your control? The room fell silent. Elder Zhao's expression darkened. We could kill you right here. Yu Chan smirked. You could try, but I doubt you'd all make it out alive. Tension filled the chamber. For a brief moment, it felt as if the entire room was teetering on the edge of an explosion. Then, Elder Bai chuckled. Interesting. You don't fear us. Yu Chan's eyes gleamed. Fear? No, but I do respect power. Elderby smiled, turning to Zhao. Perhaps a test. Zhao's smirk returned. Very well. System update. Challenge issued. New opponent. Wu Han, level 28. Abilities. Black Tiger Fist, a powerful close-range technique. Crushing Palm, generates a shockwave on impact. Stone Skin, temporarily enhances defense. A burly man stepped forward, muscles rippling with power. I'll enjoy breaking you. Wu Han sneered. Yu-chan sighed. Everyone keeps saying that. Wu Han launched forward, his fists glowing with chi. He activated Black Tiger Fist, sending a flurry of attacks. Yu-chan dodged the first strikes, his agility giving him the advantage. But Wu Han's speed was impressive for someone his size. One strike clipped Yu-chan's side, sending him skidding backward. Yu-chan rolled a shoulder. That actually stung. He gripped Moonlit Fong and surged forward. Sky Piercer Slash. A streak of silver energy sliced through the air, forcing Wu Han to block. His Stone Skin ability absorbed most of the damage, but the impact still knocked him off balance. Not bad, Wu Han growled. But let's see how you handle this. He slammed his palms together, crushing palm. A shockwave erupted, distorting the air. Yu-chan had no time to dodge. Boom! Yu-chan was thrown back, his body crashing into the stone walls. The onlookers murmured, some smirking, expecting his defeat. Then, a golden light flickered from the rubble. Yu-chan stood up. A faint smile played on his lips. That was almost impressive. Wu Han's eyes widened. What? Yu-chan activated Moonlit Blade Aura, but this time, he combined it with Dragon's Ascent. His chi exploded outward, the sheer intensity making the walls tremble. Your turn. Before Wu Han could react, Yu-chan vanished. A streak of golden light cut through the air. A single slash. The fight was over before Wu Han realized what had happened. His stone skin shattered, his body sent flying across the room. He landed hard, coughing up blood, barely conscious. The chamber fell silent. Zhao's face twisted in fury, but Elderby only chuckled. Well, that was unexpected. Yu-chan flicked his blade clean and sheathed it. Are we done playing? Elderby studied him. Perhaps we have underestimated you. Zhao's hands clenched into fists, but he couldn't deny the outcome. Yu-chan turned to leave. I'll give you all a choice. You can continue scheming against me. He paused at the exit. Or you can start thinking about what happens when I take control. With that, he disappeared into the shadows. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 24-26. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 80-84. Agility 88-91. Vitality 75-79. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, level 12, level 13. Heavenly Sword Requiem, level 12, level 13. Moonlit Blade Aura, level 8, level 10. Sky Piercer Slash, level 3, level 5. Weapons. Moonlit Fong, Epic, rank S++. As Yu-chan walked back through the tunnels, Lu Tian caught up to him. You just made yourself an even bigger target. Yu-chan grinned. Good. Lu Tian sighed. You really don't make things easy. Yu-chan's golden eyes gleamed. Neither do they. He had delivered his warning. Now, it was time to dismantle the faction from the inside. And he wouldn't stop until every last one of them fell. The air was thick with tension as Yu-chan emerged from the underground chamber. The secret gathering had revealed more than he expected. Elder Zhao wasn't acting alone. There were more forces plotting from the shadows, and if he wanted to truly take control, he had to dismantle them piece by piece. But first, he needed information. Back in his private chamber, Yu-chan leaned against the window, his golden eyes reflecting the moonlight. Lu Tian stood across from him, arms crossed. They won't stop after what you did, Lu Tian said. You embarrassed them. Yu-chan smirked. I did more than that. I made them afraid. Lu Tian sighed. So what's next? Yu-chan turned toward his desk, where a sealed scroll lay. I need to know exactly who Elder Zhao is working with. Lu Tian raised an eyebrow. You have a lead? Yu-chan nodded. one of the lower-ranking elders in Zhao's faction, Elder Hung. He's known for being cautious, but he also has a habit of visiting the Silent Moon Pavilion every week. Lu Tian frowned. The information house? Exactly. Yu Chan's smirk deepened. If he's getting information from them, that means we can get information from him. Lu Tian chuckled. You're planning to intercept him. Yu Chan's eyes gleamed. And make sure he tells us everything. 2 nights later, Silent Moon Pavilion was buzzing with activity. Disciples, merchants, and rogue cultivators all gathered here to exchange information, for a price. In a shadowed corner, Yu Chan and Lu Tian waited. Soon enough, Elder Hung arrived, escorted by 2 guards. His nervous glances told Yu Chan everything he needed to know. This man was afraid of something. Perfect. As Elder Hung made his way inside, Yu Chan and Lu Tian moved in. Within seconds, the guards were silenced, their bodies hidden in the alleyway. Elder Hung barely had time to react before Yu Chan's blade was at his throat. What is this? Elder Hung stammered, his eyes darting around in panic. Yu Chan's smile was cold. Just a friendly chat. Elder Hung swallowed hard. I don't know anything. Yu Chan pressed the blade closer. Wrong answer. Sweat dripped down Elder Hung's face. All right, I'll talk. Just don't kill me. Yu Chan's eyes didn't waver. Who else is in Zhao's faction? What are they planning? Elder Hung trembled. They've already sent word to a demonic sect. They want reinforcements. Lu Tian's expression darkened. Demonic cultivators? Elder Hung nodded quickly. Yes, they've made a deal. If Zhao and his allies can eliminate you, the demonic sect will be given free reign over Azure Dragon Academy's lower territories. Yu Chan's grip tightened. So they were willing to sacrifice parts of the academy to get rid of me. Where will the meeting take place? Yu Chan demanded. Elder Hung hesitated, but when Yu Chan's sword pressed deeper against his neck, he cracked. Tomorrow night, at the ruins of Black Ash. Yu Chan nodded. See, that wasn't so hard. With a swift movement, he knocked Elder Hung unconscious. Lu Tian raised an eyebrow. Not going to kill him. Yu Chan sheathed his blade. No, let him live with the fear. Status check. Name Yu Chan. Level 26-27. Talent, Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength, 84-87. Agility, 91-94. Vitality, 79-82. Available stat points, 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, Level 13, Level 14. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 13, Level 14. Moonlit Blade Aura, Level 10, Level 11. Sky Piercer Slash, Level 5, Level 6. Weapons, Moonlit Fong, Epic, Rank S++. The next night, Yu Chan and Lu Tian arrived at the ruins of Black Ash, a desolate place long abandoned by the academy. It was the perfect meeting spot for traitors and schemers. They hid in the shadows, watching as Elder Zhao arrived with his men. Moments later, figures clad in black robes emerged from the darkness. Demonic cultivators. Yu Chan's fist clenched. Zhao stepped forward, his voice low. The boy is becoming too troublesome. We need your sex assistance. One of the demonic cultivators laughed. And what do we get in return? Zhao's expression was grim. Land, power, and an alliance with Azure Dragon Academy's next ruling faction. The demonic cultivator smirked. A tempting offer. Yu Chan's patience ran out. He stepped forward. Unfortunately for you, he called out. None of you will be leaving here alive. All eyes snapped toward him. Zhao's face twisted in shock and rage. You, the demonic cultivator's smirk widened. So this is the boy causing all the trouble. Yu Chan unsheathed Moonlit Fong. Golden energy crackled around him. I suggest you say your goodbyes. Combat engaged. Opponents, Elder Zhao and demonic cultivators. Abilities, Zhao Celestial Palm, a powerful chi strike. Demonic cultivators Dark Veil, a cursed aura that weakens normal cultivators. Blood Pact Ritual, a forbidden technique to enhance their strength. Zhao attacked first, his celestial palm crashing toward Yu Chan like a meteor. Yu Chan dodged, countering with Sky Piercer Slash. The crescent wave of energy forced Zhao back. The demonic cultivators began chanting, their blood-packed ritual igniting dark flames around them. Yu Chan's golden aura flared. Not today. He launched forward, cutting through 3 cultists in a single strike. Their bodies disintegrated in golden fire. Zhao's fury erupted. You won't win this. He lunged again, but this time, Yu Chan met him head-on. Moonlit Blade Aura, final form. Their attacks collided, sending shock waves across the ruins. Zhao stumbled back, his face pale with disbelief. Yu Chan smirked. You're finished. Boom. With one final strike, Zhao's body was sent flying, crashing against the stone pillars of the ruins. He coughed blood, his power shattered. The remaining demonic cultivators saw their chance. They fled. Yu Chan exhaled, sheathing his blade. Lu Tian walked up beside him. Well, that was dramatic. Yu Chan chuckled. They'll be back. But now, they know who they're dealing with. Lu Tian nodded. And Zhao. Yu Chan's gaze darkened. We keep him alive, for now. He turned toward the academy. The war wasn't over yet. But tonight, he had won another battle. The battlefield of the ruins of Black Ash lay in eerie silence. The flames of demonic chi still flickered in the air, but their wielders were gone, fled into the night, leaving behind only the scent of blood and defeat. Yu Chan stood amidst the broken stone and shattered ground, his golden eyes watching Elder Zhao's crumpled form. Zhao groaned, blood staining his robes, yet his eyes burned with undying hatred. You think you've won, he rasped. Yu Chan crouched beside him, his blade resting lightly against Zhao's shoulder. No, he said. This isn't a victory. He leaned in closer. This is just the beginning. Zhao coughed, but his expression twisted into a sneer. You think you've stopped them? The demonic sect isn't going to forget this. Yu Chan sighed. I'm counting on that. He stood, looking down at Zhao. You're not worth killing, not yet. I want you to see everything you built crumble around you first. Turning to Lu Tian, he motioned toward Zhao's unconscious disciples. Bind them. We'll let the headmaster decide their fate. Lu Tian nodded and set to work. Yu Chan sheathed Moonlit Fong and exhaled slowly. One enemy defeated, but many more remained. Yu Chan turned his gaze toward the horizon, where the demonic cultivators had escaped. He knew they wouldn't retreat forever. They would regroup. They would come back stronger. The realization didn't unsettle him. Instead, it thrilled him. Lu Tian. Yu Chan called out, stepping over the rubble. His friend looked up from binding one of Zhao's followers. Yeah, we need to move fast. The demonic sect will strike again, and I refuse to wait until they decide the time and place. Lu Tian's smirk was grim. So what's the plan? Yu Chan glanced at Zhao, who glared at him despite his injuries. The former elder's breath was shallow, but his hatred was alive and burning. The sect needs to be prepared, Yu Chan said, and I need to get stronger. Status check. Name Yu Chan. Level 27-28. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 87-90. Agility 94-97. Vitality 82-85. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Phantom Step Level 14, Level 15. Heavenly Sword Requiem Level 14, Level 15. Moonlit Blade Aura Level 11, Level 12. Sky Piercer Slash Level 6, Level 7. Weapons. Moonlit Fong Epic Rank S++. The journey back to Azure Dragon Academy was tense. Yu Chan and his group kept a watchful eye on the shadows, knowing the demonic sect could still be lurking nearby. But no attack came. By the time they reached the academy gates, the first light of dawn was beginning to crest over the mountains. The guards were startled to see the battered group return, dragging Elder Zhao and his fallen disciples behind them. Whispers spread like wildfire. Yu Chan took down an elder. Not just any elder, Elder Zhao. He even fought demonic cultivators and survived. By the time Yu Chan entered the inner courtyard, half the academy was watching. He could feel their gazes, a mix of awe, fear, and curiosity. Lu Tian nudged him. You're becoming a legend, you know that? Yu Chan simply smiled. Let them talk. I have bigger concerns. As Yu-chan strode toward the grand hall, his gaze met several key figures, watching him from a distance. Elder Bai, a senior member of the academy, observed him with a thoughtful expression. Unlike Zhao, Bai had never openly opposed him, but he had never supported him either. Then there was Jiang Lei, one of the top core disciples. His arms were crossed, his expression unreadable. And finally, there was Lin Yu, the sect's rising talent, whose cold stare told Yu-chan one thing. Not everyone was happy about his rise. Lu Tian muttered under his breath, "You're making enemies left and right." Yu-chan chuckled. "Good. That means I'm doing something right." Inside his quarters, Yu-chan sat on the meditation mat, breathing deeply as he gathered his thoughts. The battle had pushed him far, but he could feel the bottleneck approaching. If he wanted to break through, he needed more than just battles. He needed knowledge. He opened his system menu, scrolling through his available options. Quest update. Investigate the demonic sect's base recommended. Advance to level 30 before the next sect tournament. Unlock a new sword technique. Yu-chan's eyes narrowed. The first quest was obvious. He needed to find out where the demonic sect was hiding. But the last two. His fingers hovered over his technique panel. A new sword technique that could give him the edge he needed against stronger opponents. But first, he needed to prepare. Tomorrow, the sect judgment of Elder Zhao would take place. And after that, he would make his next move. The morning sun barely crested the peaks of the Azure Dragon Mountains when the Grand Hall's gong echoed through the academy. It was a signal, one that had not been heard in decades. Today, Elder Zhao would face judgment. Yu-chan stood at the entrance of the Grand Hall, watching as disciples and elders filed inside. The entire sect had gathered, not just to witness Zhao's fate, but to see the disciple who had brought down a powerful elder. Lu Tian stepped beside him, arms crossed. "You ready for this?" Yu-chan smirked. "The question is, are they?" Inside the Grand Hall, the air was thick with tension. Elder Zhao knelt in the center, his wrists bound with spiritual chains, his face pale, but his eyes burning with defiance. Surrounding him were the academy's highest elders, including Headmaster Qin, whose gaze held neither mercy nor anger, just judgment. The room buzzed with murmurs as Headmaster Qin finally spoke. "Elder Zhao, you stand accused of conspiring with demonic cultivators, attempting to assassinate a core disciple, and betraying the Azure Dragon Academy. Do you deny these charges?" Zhao's lips curled into a sneer. "I did what needed to be done. This academy has grown weak, blind to the power that lurks beyond these walls." The murmurs grew louder. Yu-chan leaned against a pillar, watching Zhao closely. Even in chains, the former elder carried himself with arrogance. "He's already lost, but he still refuses to admit it." Qin's voice hardened. "Your ambition has led to countless deaths. You have endangered the academy. There is no place for you here." Zhao's fingers twitched. "You're making a mistake." "No," Qin said. "You did." With a simple wave of his hand, spiritual runes lit up across Zhao's body. A seal. Zhao gasped as his qi was forcefully suppressed, his cultivation locked away in an instant. His strength gone. The hall fell silent as the reality sank in. Elder Zhao had been crippled. "You are hereby expelled from Azure Dragon Academy," Qin declared. "You will live the rest of your life in exile. Any attempt to return will be met with death." Zhao's breath came ragged as the finality of his sentence set in. For someone who had once wielded immense power, losing everything was worse than death. Yu-chan stepped forward, just close enough that only Zhao could hear his words. "I told you," Yu-chan murmured. This wasn't a victory. This was the beginning. Zhao's eyes burned with pure hatred, but he could do nothing. With a single gesture, guards dragged Zhao away, his struggling form disappearing through the great doors of the hall. And just like that, the greatest enemy Yu-chan had faced so far was gone. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 28-29. Talent, Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength, 90-92. Agility, 97-99. Vitality, 85-88. Available stat points, 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, Level 15, Level 16. Heavenly Sword Requiem, level 15, level 16. Moonlit Blade Aura, level 12, level 13. Sky Piercer Slash, level 7, level 8. Weapons, Moonlit Fong, Epic, rank S++. The moment the judgment was over, Yu-chan felt the shift in the air. He could see it in the way the elders glanced at each other, how some disciples murmured among themselves. Zhao's fall had created a power vacuum, and someone would try to fill it. As Yu-chan exited the grand hall, Zhang Lei approached. The core disciple's expression was unreadable. You made a lot of enemies today. Yu-chan smirked. Nothing new. Zhang Lei studied him for a moment before nodding. Be careful. Elder Zhao may be gone, but the ones who supported him are still here. Yu-chan's golden eyes gleamed. Let them come. That night, as Yu-chan sat meditating in his quarters, a presence flickered in the darkness. A soft voice spoke from the shadows. The demonic sect is still watching you. Yu-chan didn't react. And who might you be? The figure stepped forward just enough for him to see a woman in a dark cloak, her face hidden behind a silver mask. A messenger, she said. From an ally. Yu-chan raised an eyebrow. An ally? The woman nodded. Someone who wants to see the demonic sect fall as much as you do. Yu-chan chuckled. And why should I trust you? The woman's voice was calm. Because if you don't, you won't live long enough to see your next battle. Silence stretched between them. Finally, the woman tossed a small scroll onto the table. The demonic sect is regrouping. They will strike soon. Be ready. Then, in an instant, she vanished. Yu-chan picked up the scroll, unfolding it. Inside was a map, marking the location of a hidden demonic stronghold. His smirk returned. Looks like the real war is just beginning. The night was silent as Yu-chan studied the map, left behind by the mysterious woman. The markings indicated a remote demonic stronghold, deep in the Crimson Shadow Mountains, a place long abandoned by the Azure Dragon Academy. Lu Tian leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Are we really doing this? You just got rid of Zhao, and now you want to dive straight into demonic territory. Yu-chan's golden eyes gleamed. If the demonic sect is regrouping, we need to strike first. Lu Tian sighed. Fine, but this time, we're not going in alone. Yu-chan smirked. Agreed. The next morning, core disciples loyal to Yu-chan gathered in a secluded chamber within the academy. Among them were Zhang Lei, Lin Yu, and Gao Run, all of whom had taken notice of Yu-chan's rise in strength. Zhang Lei tapped the table. We all know why we're here. The demonic sect won't wait for us to recover. They will strike when we least expect it. Lin Yu nodded. So we bring the fight to them. Yu-chan placed the map on the table. This is our target. It won't be easy. We're dealing with cultivators who have abandoned morality for power. Expect traps, formations, and worse. Gaorin cracked his knuckles. Good. I was getting bored. Yu-chan's smirk widened. Then let's move. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 2930. Talent, Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength, 92-95. Agility, 99-102. Vitality, 88-91. Available stat points, 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, level 16, level 17. Heavenly Sword Requiem, level 16, level 17. Moonlit Blade Aura, level 13, level 14. Sky Piercer Slash, level 8, level 9. Weapons, Moonlit Fong, Epic, rank S++. The journey to the Crimson Shadow Mountains was long and treacherous. The deeper they traveled, the more sinister the air became. The mountains pulsed with dark energy, the remains of countless battles fought long ago. As they neared the stronghold, Lin Yu frowned. Something's wrong. Yu-chan followed her gaze. A trail of fresh blood led toward the entrance. Looks like someone got here before us. Zhang Lei muttered. Yu-chan's grip tightened on his sword. Or they were expecting us. As they entered the ruins, a deep laughter echoed through the stone walls. Well, well, the little heroes have arrived. From the shadows, a group of demonic cultivators emerged, their eyes glowing with malice. Their leader, a tall man with black markings along his arms, grinned wickedly. I was hoping for a warm-up. Yu Chan stepped forward, his blade gleaming. Then let's not waste time. System update. Combat engaged. Opponents. Demonic Sect Enforcers. Level 32. Abilities. Blood Shadow Strike. Absorbs enemy chi upon contact. Dark Veil. Creates illusions of multiple opponents. Cursed Flame Barrage. Summons black flames that burn soul energy. The demonic cultivators attacked first, their movements enhanced by dark chi. One of them launched Blood Shadow Strike, aiming directly for Yu Chan's chest. He dodged in an instant, countering with Sky Piercer Slash. His blade cut through the illusion, revealing the true attacker. Too slow. With a single motion, Yu Chan disarmed the enemy and ended them in one strike. Jiang Lei and Gao Ren fought beside him, cutting through the remaining forces, while Lin Yu controlled the battlefield with defensive techniques. Soon, only one enemy remained, the leader of the demonic enforcers. He smiled, blood dripping from his lips. You think this is victory? The ground beneath them shook violently. Yu Chan's eyes narrowed. A trap. The ruins collapsed, forcing the team to retreat, except for Yu Chan, who was pulled into the darkness below. Yu Chan landed in a vast, underground chamber. He sensed the pulsing aura of demonic energy, and at the center stood an altar of black stone, crackling with cursed flames. A deep voice rumbled. You are bold to come here alone. Yu Chan turned, meeting the gaze of a figure cloaked in shadows. I was expecting company, he said, unsheathing his sword. The figure chuckled. Then let me entertain you. A surge of black fire erupted toward him, and the battle for his survival began. The underground chamber pulsed with demonic energy, its air thick with an overwhelming killing intent. Yu Chan gripped Moonlit Fong, his golden eyes locked onto the shadowy figure before him. The cursed flames around the altar flickered wildly, casting eerie shadows against the stone walls. The figure stepped forward, revealing a face partially concealed by a dark mask. His presence exuded raw malice. You're reckless, the man said, his voice as sharp as a blade. Coming here alone was a mistake. Yu Chan smirked. We'll see about that. Enemy engaged. Opponent, Elder Sun, Demonic Sect Commander, level 35. Abilities. Netherfire Barrage. Launches multiple black fireballs that consume chi. Shadow Blink. Teleports instantly within a limited range. Abyssal Grasp. Drains life force upon contact. Demonic Rebirth. Regenerates injuries using stolen soul energy. Elder Sun vanished in an instant. Yu Chan barely had time to react before black fire shot toward him from all sides. He flipped backward, avoiding the brunt of the attack, but a stray flame scorched his shoulder, causing his robes to smolder. Damage taken, -5 vitality. Yu Chan gritted his teeth. Fast. Sun appeared behind him, palm glowing with dark energy. Abyssal Grasp. Yu Chan dodged sideways, barely avoiding the deathly touch, and retaliated with Sky Piercer Slash. A golden arc of energy sliced through the air, but Sun teleported away, reappearing atop the altar. Sun's voice was mocking. You're strong for a mere disciple, but this is my domain. Yu Chan exhaled sharply, assessing the battlefield. The cursed flames, the altar, the enclosed space. This entire chamber is boosting his power. If he wanted to win, he needed to change the battlefield. Yu Chan tightened his grip on Moonlit Fong. His energy flared, golden light pushing back the oppressive darkness. Moonlit Blade Aura, full expansion. A burst of energy dispelled the surrounding flames, carving out a zone of light within the chamber. The moment the cursed fire weakened, Sun staggered, his connection to the altar disrupted. Yu Chan smirked. So that's your weakness. Before Sun could recover, Yu Chan vanished, using Phantom Step to close the distance in a blink. His sword flashed. Sky Piercer Slash enhanced. A sharp, golden arc tore through Sun's defenses, leaving a deep gash across his torso. He howled in pain, his regeneration struggling to keep up. Critical hit. Opponent's defense lowered. Sun clutched his wound, his breathing ragged. You brat. Yu Chan didn't let up. He charged forward, delivering a rapid series of strikes, each one forcing Sun back toward the weakened altar. Sun's fury ignited. He raised both hands, summoning a swirling vortex of netherfire, preparing to unleash his strongest attack. Yu Chan's instinct screamed at him. If that lands, I'm done. He had only one chance. He closed his eyes for a brief second, and when he opened them, his energy exploded outward. Heavenly Sword Requiem, limit break. His blade shone like a falling star, cutting straight through Sun's attack. The moment their energies clashed, an explosion rocked the chamber. Boom! Dust and debris filled the air. When it settled, Sun lay motionless, his body severed from shoulder to hip. His eyes were still open, disbelief frozen on his face. Yu Chan exhaled heavily, lowering his sword. Status check. Name Yu Chan. Level 3032. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 95-98. Agility 102-105. Vitality 91-94. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, Level 17, Level 18. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 17, Level 18. Moonlit Blade Aura, Level 14, Level 15. Sky Piercer Slash, Level 9, Level 10. Weapons. Moonlit Fong Epic, Rank S++. The chamber began collapsing, the dark energy destabilized by Sun's death. Yu Chan dashed toward the exit, dodging falling debris. As he reached the passageway, a familiar voice called out, "About time you showed up." Yu Chan turned to see Lu Tian, Jiang Lei, and Lin Yu standing at the tunnel's entrance, weapons drawn. Lu Tian smirked. "You good?" Yu Chan wiped the sweat from his brow. "Better than him." He gestured at the ruins of the altar. Jiang Lei raised an eyebrow. "You took out a demonic commander alone." Yu Chan simply smiled. "It wasn't easy." Lin Yu sighed. "Let's move before this place buries us." The group rushed out, the underground chamber collapsing behind them. As they emerged into the moonlight, Yu Chan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his victory. The demonic sect had suffered a major loss tonight, but he knew this wasn't the end. If there was one commander, there would be more, and the real battle was yet to come. The crisp night air felt like a cleansing wave against Yu Chan's skin as he and his team emerged from the collapsed ruins of the demonic stronghold. The Crimson Shadow Mountains were eerily silent, the lingering traces of dark energy dissipating into the cold wind. But Yu Chan knew better than to relax. "We need to move," he said, wiping the dried blood from his brow. "If the demonic sect realizes their commander has fallen, they'll come looking for answers." Lu Tian adjusted his grip on his weapon. "And when they do," Yu Chan smirked, "we'll be long gone." The journey back to Azure Dragon Academy was faster than their descent into the mountains. Yu Chan, Jiang Lei, Lin Yu, and Lu Tian moved swiftly, their senses heightened. It wasn't just about getting back. It was about delivering the message that the demonic sect had suffered a crippling blow. By the time they reached the outer gates of the academy, the first rays of dawn painted the sky in hues of red and gold. Disciples whispered among themselves as Yu Chan and his team strode through the courtyard, their robes torn, dirted, and stained with battle. Jiang Lei clapped Yu Chan on the back. "Well, that was a night to remember." Lin Yu sighed, brushing dust from her sleeves. "You have an interesting definition of remember." Yu Chan merely grinned. He had taken a massive step forward, but he wasn't done yet. Status check. Name Yu Chan. Level 32-33. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 98-101. Agility 105-107. Vitality 94-97. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, Level 18, Level 19. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 18, Level 19. Moonlit Blade Aura, Level 15, Level 16. Sky Piercer Slash, Level 10, Level 11. Weapons. Moonlit Fong Epic, Rank S++. Before Yu Chan could even reach his personal quarters, a disciple arrived with an urgent message. "The Elder Council requests your presence," the disciple said, his tone uneasy. Yu Chan exchanged a glance with Lu Tian before nodding. "Tell them I'm on my way." The grand hall was already filled with tension by the time Yu Chan stepped inside. Seated at the high table were Headmaster Qin, Elder Bai, and several senior figures of the Azure Dragon Academy. Their gazes bore down on him like an invisible weight. "Yu-chan," Headmaster Qin's voice was calm, yet firm. "We have received troubling news." Yu-chan folded his arms. "If it's about the demonic sect, I can confirm. Elder Sun is dead." The hall stirred with murmurs. Some elders appeared relieved, while others, particularly Elder Bai, remained skeptical. "You took down a demonic commander?" Bai questioned, his eyes narrowing. "Alone." Yu-chan shrugged. "With some difficulty." Qin studied him carefully. "That is an impressive feat, but it also means you have now painted a target on your back." Yu-chan smirked. "Nothing I'm not used to." The room remained silent for a long moment before Qin nodded. "Then we must prepare." Later that evening, as Yu-chan trained alone in the secluded courtyard, a gust of chilling wind swept through the academy. He immediately sensed it, an approaching force. Stepping forward, he tightened his grip on Moonlit Fong. A shadowy figure emerged from the darkness, his aura laced with murderous intent. The man's crimson eyes gleamed. "So you're the one who killed Elder Sun?" Yu-chan's lips curled into a smirk. "And you are?" The figure chuckled. "I am Zhao Feng, one of the demonic sect's enforcers." He unsheathed a long, curved blade, its edge coated in cursed qi. "And I've come to deliver retribution." Yu-chan exhaled slowly, his battle spirit rising. The war wasn't over. It was only beginning. The moment Zhao Feng's blade glowed with cursed qi, Yu-chan's instinct sharpened. A battle was inevitable, but this was not the time. He had just returned from one grueling fight, and his body, while powerful, needed refinement. Instead of engaging immediately, Yu-chan smirked. "Retribution? You might want to wait in line." Zhao Feng's eyes narrowed. "You won't escape fate, Yu-chan." With that ominous warning, his form blurred into the night, vanishing as quickly as he appeared. Yu-chan exhaled. He needed to grow stronger. Immediately, Yu-chan didn't waste a single second. The moment dawn broke, he was already in the Azure Dragon training grounds, a secluded mountain peak reserved for elite disciples. It was here that warriors refined their craft, and Yu-chan intended to push himself to the limits. He stood in the center of the training field, surrounded by stone pillars, each one reinforced with spiritual formations. His muscles tensed as he inhaled deeply, focusing his qi. The air shimmered around him as golden energy surged from his core, flooding his limbs with raw power. Every cultivation session brought him closer to mastery, but today, he aimed to take a leap. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 33-34. Talent, Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength, 101, 104. Agility, 107, 110. Vitality, 97, 100. Available stat points, 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, Level 19, Level 20. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 19, Level 20. Moonlit Blade Aura, Level 16, Level 17. Sky Piercer Slash, Level 11, Level 12. Weapons. Moonlit Fong, Epic, Rank S++. Yu-chan's first test was refining Phantom Step, the movement technique that had saved his life countless times. He set up 100 thin iron strings, each one laced with spiritual energy. If he moved even a fraction too slow, they would slice into his flesh. Taking a deep breath, he vanished. His body flickered as he weaved between the wires, dodging with microscopic precision. His qi pulsed, fueling his speed. Faster, faster. His footwork blurred as he pushed himself past his previous limit, until finally, a flawless pass. He emerged on the other side, without a single scratch. Phantom Step had reached its next stage. The next phase was sword mastery. Yu-chan faced a towering obsidian monolith, its surface indestructible to ordinary weapons. But Moonlit Fong was no ordinary weapon. Yu-chan closed his eyes, channeling his energy deep into his sword. The blade vibrated, resonating with his qi. Sky Piercer Slash, Compression Technique. A thin, almost invisible crescent wave of energy burst from his sword. Unlike a normal attack, this was focused, not wide, but deep. The result? A single, Clean fissure appeared in the monolith, running straight through the core. Yu-chan exhaled, his grip tightening around moonlit Fong. Not enough. More power. By midday, sweat dripped from Yu-chan's body. He refused to stop. His next challenge was against gravity itself. Strapping 200-pound weights to each wrist, he moved into a controlled sword form sequence, a practice where he had to strike exactly 1,000 times, without losing precision. Each strike was deliberate, each swing perfectly measured. 100 strikes. 200. 300. His muscles screamed, but he didn't stop. He couldn't stop. By the time he reached 900, his arms trembled, but his technique had never been sharper. On the final strike, he unleashed all his energy. A golden shockwave erupted from moonlit Fong, slicing through 3 boulders in a single blow. Yu-chan collapsed onto one knee, breathing hard. Then he smiled. He had broken through. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 34-35. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 104-108. Agility 110-113. Vitality 100-104. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, Level 20, Level 21. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 20, Level 21. Moonlit Blade Aura, Level 17, Level 18. Sky Piercer Slash, Level 12, Level 13. Weapons. Moonlit Fong, Epic, Rank S++. As the sun began to set, Yu-chan sat in meditation, feeling the newfound energy coursing through him. He had refined his speed, endurance, and swordsmanship, but something deeper had changed. He could feel his techniques evolving, not just in strength, but in clarity. His moonlit blade aura wasn't just an attack. It was a force that could carve through fate itself. His Sky Piercer Slash wasn't just about destruction. It was a tool of precision, capable of breaking any defense. And his Heavenly Sword Requiem, for the first time, he felt like he understood its true form. Yu-chan opened his eyes, his golden irises glowing faintly in the dark. The echoes of Yu-chan's strikes still lingered in the air as he sat cross-legged in the center of the training ground. His body was battered, his muscles ached, and his chi reserves were nearly depleted, but his eyes burned with determination. The weight of the previous battle, the looming threat of Zhao Feng, and the ever-growing dangers of the demonic sect had made one thing clear. He was still not strong enough, and so he would push himself beyond his limits. Yu-chan stood and made his way toward the Academy's gravity chamber, a hidden training room designed for elite disciples. It was a place only a handful dared to enter, a room where the force of the world itself could be controlled and increased to unbearable levels. Upon entering, Yu-chan set the chamber's spiritual formations to their maximum output. Instantly, his body felt like it was being crushed under a mountain. His knees buckled, his breathing grew labored, and every step felt like moving through molasses. But he did not yield. He unsheathed Moonlit Fong and entered his sword stance. Heavenly Sword Requiem, stabilization form. His blade trembled under the immense pressure, his muscles screaming in protest as he swung it slowly, deliberately. 1 swing, 2 swings, 3. By the time he reached 100, sweat drenched his body, but his movements had not faltered. He had control, and now he needed speed. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 35-36. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 108-112. Agility 113-116. Vitality 104-107. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Phantom Step, Level 21, Level 22. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 21, Level 22. Moonlit Blade Aura, Level 18, Level 19. Sky Piercer Slash, Level 13, Level 14. Weapons. Moonlit Fong, Epic, Rank S++. Yu-chan activated Phantom Step, weaving through the gravity-dense field while executing rapid slashes. Faster, faster. The speed of his sword strokes increased to the point where they became blurs of golden light, flashing through the chamber like shooting stars. But it was not enough. Yu-chan pushed further, amplifying his movement with chi. compressing his energy into precise bursts. His form disappeared from sight entirely, only for him to reappear across the chamber in an instant, striking the target dummy in the blink of an eye. A single cut. The entire dummy split apart, completely severed before it even registered contact. Yu-chan exhaled slowly, his chest rising and falling steadily. He had reached a new threshold. System update. Breakthrough achieved. Phantom Step has evolved into Phantom Mirage, Level 1. Sky Piercer Slash has evolved into Void Piercer Slash, Level 1. Yu-chan clenched his fists. Finally, now that his speed and swordsmanship had evolved, there was only one thing left to improve: his endurance. He removed his upper robe, exposing his battle-hardened body, and stepped into the spiritual impact zone, an area where energy waves continuously battered the user's body. The first wave struck him like a hammer, nearly knocking him off his feet. The second wave sent a sharp pain rippling through his bones. By the third, he was coughing blood, but Yu-chan gritted his teeth and stood tall. Each impact forced his muscles to break and rebuild, his bones to reinforce, his chi to circulate stronger and faster. This pain was only temporary. Strength was permanent. By the time the final wave crashed into him, his body didn't even flinch. He stood unshaken, his golden aura burning brighter than ever. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 36-37. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery. Strength 112-115. Agility 116-119. Vitality 107-110. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Phantom Mirage, Level 1, Level 2. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 22, Level 23. Moonlit Blade Aura, Level 19, Level 20. Void Piercer Slash, Level 1, Level 2. Weapons. Moonlit Fong Epic, Rank S++. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Yu-chan stood at the peak of the training ground, his body renewed, his spirit sharpened. He unsheathed Moonlit Fong and let the blade reflect the twilight's glow. A single thought passed through his mind. Zhao Feng is not ready for what's coming. Yu-chan smiled. But I am. The deep stillness of night blanketed the Azure Dragon Academy, but within the secluded dragon's breath cavern, Yu-chan stood alone. His golden eyes burned with fierce determination as he gripped Moonlit Fong, the sword humming in response to his growing strength. His training was far from over. If he wanted to truly surpass the limits of mortal cultivation, he needed to unlock the inner sword realm, a technique only the most elite sword masters could grasp. The inner sword realm was said to be a state where the sword was not just an extension of the body, but an extension of the soul itself. Few ever reached this level, and those who attempted it often failed or died trying. Yu-chan stepped forward, placing Moonlit Fong in front of him as he entered deep meditation. The cavern's air felt heavy, filled with ancient remnants of past swordsmen who had trained in this very place. He slowed his breathing, feeling the sword's presence within him. And then, a sudden pulse rippled through his body, dragging his consciousness into an endless void. Yu-chan opened his eyes to find himself standing in a world of endless blades. Countless swords, some old, some broken, some burning with untapped power, floated in the void around him. The sky above was dark, filled with whispering echoes of sword masters long gone. Who dares step into the inner sword realm unprepared? A deep voice rumbled. Yu-chan turned to see a towering, ethereal swordsman standing before him, his form flickering like a mirage. I am Yu-chan, he said calmly, and I seek mastery. The swordsman's eyes glowed with amusement. Then you must prove yourself. Without warning, 1,000 spectral swords descended upon him. System update. Trial engaged. Inner Sword Realm Trial initiated. Survive 1,000 strikes. Reward. Sword Soul Awakening. The first 100 blades struck like a storm, but Yu-chan dodged with Phantom Mirage, his movements weaving between the deadly strikes. The next 300 forced him onto the defensive. He activated Moonlit Blade Aura, using the energy around him to deflect the incoming blades. By the time he reached 700, his arms felt numb, his chi dwindling, but he refused to fall. With one final surge of energy, He counted the last 300 swords, his aura exploding outward like a golden wave. The void shattered around him, and Yu-chan awoke. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 3738. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery, Awakened, Inner Sword Realm. Strength 115, 118. Agility 119, 122. Vitality 110, 113. Available stat points 50. Techniques Phantom Mirage, Level 2, Level 3. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 23, Level 24. Moonlit Blade Aura, Level 20, Level 21. Void Piercer Slash, Level 2, Level 3. Sword Awakening, Sword Soul Dormant. Weapons, Moonlit Fong, Epic, Rank S++. As Yu-chan's eyes snapped open, he felt a new power coursing through his veins. His connection to Moonlit Fong had deepened. He could now sense its emotions, its desires. The blade was no longer just a weapon. It was alive. But his journey was not over. A true sword soul awakening had not yet occurred. There was still one final step left to take. Yu-chan's lips curled into a smirk. Then let's finish this. The night wind howled through the dragon's breath cavern, yet Yu-chan remained still. His breathing was steady, his heartbeat synchronized with the energy thrumming through Moonlit Fong. He had conquered the inner sword realm, but his path to absolute mastery was not yet complete. The final step, the awakening of the sword soul, required something more than endurance or battle prowess. It demanded understanding. Yu-chan's golden eyes shimmered as he tightened his grip on Moonlit Fong. The dormant energy within the blade called to him, urging him to take the last step. To awaken the sword soul, one must battle oneself. Taking a deep breath, he plunged his consciousness back into the inner sword realm. This time, the world was not filled with countless swords. Instead, he stood before a single figure. Himself. The other Yu-chan smirked, his golden eyes glowing with the same sharpness, his grip on an identical Moonlit Fong unwavering. I see, Yu-chan murmured. This is the final trial. The reflection nodded. To master the sword, you must master yourself. Without another word, the two clashed. Final sword soul awakening trial initiated. Defeat the perfect reflection. Reward, sword soul awakening complete. The moment their swords collided, a shockwave erupted across the realm. Golden and silver energy clashed, illuminating the dark void around them. Yu-chan's phantom mirage activated, his body flickering between forms as he darted around his reflection. But his opponent matched him move for move. Every technique Yu-chan executed, his reflection did as well, only stronger, faster, and with greater precision. So this is what it means to fight a perfect version of myself. His opponent swung Void Piercer Slash, the energy from the blade carving deep through the fabric of the void. Yu-chan barely dodged, feeling the cut graze his cheek. He had never faced an opponent so perfectly in sync. And then it hit him. To win this battle, he couldn't simply outfight his reflection. He had to surpass it. Yu-chan stepped back, exhaling slowly. His reflection paused as well, watching him with the same calm expression. Then, Yu-chan lowered his sword. The reflection blinked. Giving up. Yu-chan smiled. No. He closed his eyes and listened. To the heartbeat of Moonlit Fong, to the flow of his energy, to the weight of his experiences. When he opened them again, his stance had changed. He was no longer just holding a sword. He had become the sword. His reflection charged. Yu-chan moved faster than thought itself. His blade passed through his opponent, like wind passing through the trees. A clean, effortless strike. The reflection froze, its eyes widening before dissolving into pure light. The void trembled. Then, Yu-chan felt it. The awakening. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 3840. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery, perfected. Sword Soul unlocked. Strength 118, 122. Agility 122, 126. Vitality 113, 117. Available stat points 50. Techniques. Phantom Mirage, Level 3, Level 5. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 24, Level 26. Moonlit Blade Aura, Level 21, Level 23. Void Piercer Slash, Level 3, Level 5. Sword Awakening. Sword Soul fully awakened, bound to Moonlit Fong. Weapons. Moonlit Fong, Legendary Rank SS. Yu-chan's consciousness snapped back to reality. His breathing was steady, his body stronger than ever before. But most importantly, Moonlit Fong had changed. The blade, once formidable, now radiated an aura beyond comprehension. The weapon recognized him not just as its wielder, but as its true master. Yu-chan gripped the hilt and swung once. The entire cavern split apart. The mountain trembled under the weight of his newfound power. Yu-chan exhaled, sheathing his sword. I am ready. The world would soon know the name Yu-chan. The cavern lay in ruins around Yu-chan, yet he remained unmoved. His sword, Moonlit Fong, pulsed with newfound energy, its radiance illuminating the shattered ground beneath him. The sword's soul within had awakened, forever altering the bond between wielder and blade. But he was not finished yet. A true master did not only wield power, they refined it. And Yu-chan intended to test the limits of his newfound strength. Status check. Name Yu-chan. Level 4041. Talent. Heavenly Sword Mastery, Ascended, Sword Soul Synchronization. Strength, 122, 126. Agility, 126, 130. Vitality, 117, 120. Available stat points, 50. Techniques. Phantom Mirage, Level 5, Level 6. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 26, Level 28. Moonlit Blade Aura, Level 23, Level 25. Void Piercer Slash, Level 5, Level 7. Sword Awakening. Sword Soul, harmonized with Moonlit Fong. New abilities unlocked. Weapons. Moonlit Fong Mythic, Rank SS+. Yu-chan emerged from the ruins, stepping into the open night air. The moon above cast its silver glow upon him, a silent witness to his transformation. He unsheathed Moonlit Fong, marveling at the way the blade vibrated in harmony with his chi. It was no longer just an extension of his body. It was a living force, feeding off his very essence. His gaze turned toward the towering celestial rock, a legendary formation known for its indestructible surface, used by the Academy's greatest warriors to measure their attacks. Tonight, he would test something beyond mere strength. Yu-chan exhaled, allowing his chi to flow through Moonlit Fong. The blade reacted immediately, resonating with his energy as golden sword runes flickered across its surface. Sword Soul Activation, Eternal Crescent Slash. The air around Yu-chan rippled, his presence shifting as his energy condensed into a single strike. He moved. A blinding arc of golden energy shot forth from his blade, slicing through the air with devastating force. Boom! The celestial rock trembled. A fine crack formed along its surface. Yu-chan's heart pounded. Not enough. He stepped forward again, channeling his chi deeper into the blade, merging his spirit with Moonlit Fong's essence. The crack widened. His blade burned with light, the sword runes now glowing intensely. Then, with a final swing, he unleashed everything. System alert, new skill acquired. Eternal Crescent Slash has evolved into Fate-Severing Blade. Effect, cuts through spiritual barriers, negates defensive formations, and disrupts chi flow on contact. A deafening crack split the air as the celestial rock collapsed, its unbreakable form reduced to rubble. Yu-chan stood motionless, his blade humming in satisfaction. For the first time, he had cut through fate itself. His transformation was complete, but even as he marveled at his growth, he felt a chilling presence approaching. From the shadows, a slow clap echoed through the training grounds. Well done. Yu-chan turned, meeting the gaze of Zhao Feng, the enforcer of the demonic sect. The man's crimson eyes gleamed with anticipation. I was beginning to think you wouldn't be ready in time. Yu-chan's grip on Moonlit Fong tightened. The night air grew thick with tension as Yu-chan locked eyes with Zhao Feng, the enforcer of the demonic sect. The flickering torchlight cast ominous shadows across Zhao Feng's face, but his crimson eyes burned with amusement. You've grown stronger, Zhao Feng mused, stepping forward with slow, deliberate steps. I almost regret being the one to kill you. Yu Chan's grip tightened on Moonlit Fong. The energy within the sword surged, reacting to the sheer presence of its wielder's battle intent. You won't get that chance, Yu Chan replied coldly. Status check. Name Yu Chan. Level 41-42. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery, Ascended, Sword Soul Synchronization. Strength 126, 130. Agility 130, 133. Vitality 120, 124. Available stat points 50. Techniques Phantom Mirage, Level 6, Level 7. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 28, Level 30. Moonlit Blade Aura, Level 25, Level 27. Void Piercer Slash, Level 7, Level 8. Fate Severing Blade, Level 1, Level 2. Sword Awakening. Sword Soul, harmonized with Moonlit Fong. New abilities unlocked. Weapons. Moonlit Fong Mythic, Rank SS+. Zhao Feng vanished. A fraction of a second later, a burst of black and red chi erupted behind Yu Chan. A dagger aimed at his heart. Fast. Yu Chan twisted midair, deflecting the strike with the flat of his sword. The impact sent sparks flying as Zhao Feng grinned, his body blurring in and out of existence. Yu Chan barely had time to react as another 6 dagger strikes came from different angles, each one precisely aimed at his vital points. But he had trained for this. Phantom Mirage, Advanced Shift. Yu Chan's body flickered, moving faster than the eye could track. His afterimage took the damage instead, vanishing in a mist of golden light as his real form reappeared behind Zhao Feng. Your turn. Yu Chan swung Moonlit Fong. Void Piercer Slash, second form. A crescent arc of energy shot forward, ripping apart the air itself. Zhao Feng barely dodged, but his robe was torn open, revealing a strange demonic tattoo etched across his chest. Yu Chan's eyes narrowed. That wasn't there before. Zhao Feng's smirk widened. You noticed, huh? The tattoo pulsated, and suddenly, a massive wave of corrupted chi exploded outward. The ground cracked beneath them as a dark aura wrapped around Zhao Feng's body, his form twisting into something inhuman. His fingers elongated into clawed talons, his crimson eyes turning completely black. The air around him vibrated with malevolent energy. This is what true power looks like. Yu Chan's expression remained calm. Powerful, yes, but uncontrollable. Zhao Feng charged, his speed doubling. His claws lashed out, but this time, Yu Chan didn't dodge. He countered. Moonlit Fong ignited with blinding golden energy, and with a single, controlled movement, Yu Chan cleaved through Zhao Feng's attack. A shockwave erupted, sending both warriors flying backward. For the first time, Zhao Feng looked shaken. You actually cut through my demonic enhancement. Yu Chan exhaled slowly. I severed your fate. Zhao Feng's expression twisted into a snarl. His body began to crack apart, the unstable demonic chi within him spiraling out of control. You think this is over? Yu Chan didn't waste time answering. He vanished, and in the next moment, he was in front of Zhao Feng. His sword moved faster than thought itself. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Divine Execution. A single perfect cut. Zhao Feng's eyes widened as a line of golden light split across his torso. A heartbeat later, his body collapsed. The corruption burned away as Zhao Feng disintegrated into ash, his scream echoing into the void. Yu Chan lowered his sword, his breath steady. It was over. Status check. Name Yu Chan. Level 42-44. Talent Heavenly Sword Mastery, Peak, Fatebreaker Awakening. Strength 130, 135. Agility 133, 137. Vitality 124, 128. Available stat points 50. Techniques Phantom Mirage, Level 7, Level 8. Heavenly Sword Requiem, Level 30, Level 32. Moonlit Blade Aura, Level 27, Level 29. Void Piercer Slash, Level 8, Level 10. Fate Severing Blade, Level 2, Level 4. Sword Awakening. Sword Soul, harmonized with Moonlit Fong. New abilities unlocked. Weapons. Moonlit Fong Mythic, Rank SS++. The battle had ended, but Yu Chan knew this was only the beginning. Zhao Feng had been powerful, but something told him the demonic sect had greater threats lurking in the shadows. As he sheathed Moonlit Fang, the first rays of dawn touched the horizon. His path was clear. He would cut through every obstacle, no matter how dark the road ahead. He was no longer just Yu Chan, the swordsman. He was the one who severed fate itself.